It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
The Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. It is great to be here on a rainy Wednesday in New York City, my last stop before I head off to Puerto Rico. Yes, San Juan, to be exact. Not to be confused with San Juan, like some of you say over here. And by the way, it's taking place at the El Choliseo. Did you know that, Frank? Not the El Coliseo, it's the Choliseo.
Yeah, the Choliseo.
Even though it's pronounced C-O, it's actually, or it's spelled C-O, it's actually pronounced C-H-O in a roundabout way. Yeah, it's something else. Anyway, looking forward to that. Was there back in January. We'll be there this weekend for the big Amanda Serrano homecoming. Also, a guy by the name of Jake Paul will be on the card. Juana Walton. Should be a grand old time with my friends from DAZN. I'm looking forward to that. But like I said, we got a lot to discuss and a lot to get to on today's program. So buckle up, friends. What a show we had on Monday. Enjoyed it tremendously. Hope you all did as well. And actually got a lot of love from the boxing community. Apparently, a lot of them checking out the show for the first time. Feels like a bit of a turning point for our program. And more of that to come. So stay tuned, enjoying the diversification. But of course, our roots are firmly planted in the world of mixed martial arts, and more diversity on today's program, but still a lot of MMA talk as well. So buckle up, my friends. As always, we are presented by our good friends over at DraftKings. Later in the program, I'll tell you more about them. Also, BetterHelp. We love BetterHelp. Tell you more about them as well. Back into the show, we'll check in with the Parlay Boys, get GC's picks for the weekend, and any other matters that need to be addressed. Is Juliana back? I don't even know. I'll find out, like all of you, back into the program. Prior to that, at around 3:40, the president and the founder of BKFC, that's Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, he will be stopping by. His name, Dave Feldman. He's coming on bearing gifts. He will announce the main event for Knuckle Mania 4. That takes place on April 27th in Los Angeles. That is a big event for them. That's sort of like their International Fight Week WrestleMania Super Bowl event. And so he will tell us not only the main event, but also some other information regarding the card. Stay tuned for that. Feldman doing big things. Always great to have him on. Prior to that, we'll answer questions on the nose. Stay tuned for that. Another litany of great questions. Can't wait to get to them. Matthew Riddle, the former UFC fighter turned WWE wrestler, now free agent, indie star. He'll be competing on the MLW card here in New York City in Queens tomorrow night. It airs on Triller. He left WWE in September, was released after a great run over there. Lasted about 3.5 years. He's a very interesting guy to talk to, has obviously been through a lot, has done a lot. Never had him in studio. We've talked to him before, of course, in person, out at events and obviously during the UFC run. So looking forward to having the great Matt Riddle, Mr. Super King of Bros himself, joining us in studio at about 2:05. Claressa Shields is going to stop by at around 1:45 to talk about her debut in Saudi Arabia and her PFL win this past weekend. And we'll talk about some of the things we talked about on Monday with her number one fan, New York Rick. And Jorge Masvidal is going to join us at 1:15 to talk about the Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA card, which goes down this Saturday, March 2nd in Orlando. And it features their first title fight. It will be Junior dos Santos, the former UFC heavyweight champion, going up against the former middleweight contender, Alan Belcher, who has enjoyed a bit of a renaissance in this bare knuckle world. They're going toe-to-toe for that heavyweight strap. So stay tuned for Masvidal. He was in Stockton yesterday, the 209, and I'm curious as to why. We've got about 10 or so minutes. We can squeeze in a question or two. I say we do it. Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
So many good questions today.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Just got an email from Substack.
Yes.
That they are now offering direct messaging.
You know what? Thank you for mentioning that. I was just about to mention it, that a loyal subscriber actually sent me a whole bunch of questions that he moderated, which I thought was very kind of him. But this is after I did it myself. And so I was not in need of said moderation, but I do appreciate him going out of his way and doing so. And he actually did a great job, if I'm being honest. So thank you very much to that individual. I appreciate it. And perhaps I will use your services in the future. All right, let's get to a couple of questions here. Mark Walsh up first. Konas ata tu Ariel. I do believe that is Gaelic. Mark here again. A quick point / question to ask you and the lads in the back. You guys were saying that Francis leaving the PFL event was not a great omen for the potential future MMA fight. However, wasn't he very annoyed that the Fury versus Usyk fight was announced before his fight with Fury took place? Perhaps he finds it disrespectful to AJ for another fight to be announced before he competes. You know, I didn't think of that. That's actually a great point. That's actually a fantastic point. Now, different sports, no date attached. Fury Usyk, there was an actual date attached, this and that. But it's not the worst point. And so I want to run with that. That's a great one, Mark. Maybe he feels like, yo, let me deal with the guy in front of me who I'm fighting in like 10 days. Well, at that point, it was like 13 days. Let me deal with that guy. And then we could do your face-offs and we could do all that stuff. Of course, he's standing right there. I'm sure PFL would have loved to have that shot, especially considering how tall, you know, Problema is and how great the visual would be. But I like that. And I will say, mea culpa, I didn't think of that. I also do know that he was a little bit, you know, the announcement and all that stuff. So I obviously have some intel, but there's definitely a part of me that thinks that this could add to it as well. So well done. Here's Eric. Hilwani, who, me? Who, me? Everything okay back there?
Yeah.
As a diehard boxing fan, I wanted to give you a shout out for the amazing coverage this week, as always. Thanks, Eric. Monday's show was fantastic and pure entertainment. With that said, we have a fantastic run of fights in the next few months and was wondering which upcoming fight you and the guys are most excited for. Okay, here we go. March 8th, Joshua Ngannou. April 20th, Haney Garcia. May 4th, Canelo Charlo. I don't think that's right, my man. As we discussed on Monday with a bunch of people, I don't think he's fighting Charlo. I think there's a much better chance of him fighting Munguia or even Berlanga than Charlo, especially if he leaves PBC. May 12th, Lomachenko Kambosos. Not bad. Fury Usyk, May 18th. Wouldn't be surprised if Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron falls on May 25th. June 1st, Beterbiev Bivol plus the 5-on-5 with Matchroom. Also failed to mention here, April 27th, Taylor Catterall, which is a great one. We had them on last Wednesday as well. If I had to pick one, obviously we have great interest in Joshua Ngannou. If you don't want to say that one counts and my interest couldn't be higher for that, what a week that's going to be next week. PFL in Paris on Thursday with the return of Cedric Doumbé. Then you've got Francis versus AJ on Friday evening in Riyadh, Friday afternoon here in the United States, and then 299 on Saturday. That is going to be insane. But if you don't want to pick that one, I'll probably go with Haney Garcia. I don't think that's a hot take. New York Rick was at the press conference yesterday in New York. I believe he's here.
I'm here.
Your thoughts?
There's buzz, man. It feels like a big fight. And you know, I've stated this many times. Like, I feel like the biggest boxing fights to me are the most intriguing thing in combat sports, even above the biggest MMA fights. Now, you know, that's talent dependent, but this one has a big feel. This one feels like the teams are getting into it, the promoters are getting into it, the fighters are obviously getting into it, and now the fans are kind of coming along and getting excited when Oscar, Eddie, Devin, Ryan are leaving the venue yesterday, it was a mob scene. Like, people are excited about this fight. The fans are turning out.
I saw some videos of Eddie getting like mobbed, Ryan getting mobbed.
Every single person got mobbed as soon as they left. There was tons of people outside. It was a horde.
How many people would you say were inside?
That is harder to say because we're kind of like in a pit, and then behind are the seats up in like an elevated section. A few hundred in the seats.
Did it, because I know Eddie sometimes doesn't like when there's fans there, but I think especially for the face-off, and you heard people yelling and stuff like that. Yeah. I think the fans add a lot. We have the face-off here. We can show it. I think the fans add a lot. They don't, they don't do things the exact same way as the UFC, and it's funny seeing fans like look at this, the MMA fans, and be like, "What a clown show!" I'm like, "Have you seen some of the UFC press conferences as of late?" And it gets a little crowded there, but this was good. I thought this was good stuff. This was good theater. And you know what was interesting, Rick? It was first I felt like Ryan was leaning into the rivalry between Oscar and Eddie, but then it seemed like he turned on Eddie.
Yeah, he turned on Eddie quick as soon as Eddie said that Devin can't lose, which I think was a rightful objection by Ryan Garcia if he's saying that Devin will never lose. And then how about this? He made amends with Bernard Hopkins live on stage. I think that was like the biggest. That's right. The biggest takeaway. Ryan Garcia's turning over a new leaf, putting all beefs behind him and focused on Devin and Bill Haney.
And, it's also interesting. And look how long. This is like a minute and a half long.
It was about a minute and a half in total, yeah.
Do you think that they should cut these shorter?
No. I love the long face-off. I love the thing about it is, right, when you have a UFC event and you've got 15 fights that that everybody's kind of like focused on, cares about, like, all of you have to give time to this. With boxing, we know what it is. It's the two guys or girls at the top of the billing on the poster. Let's give them as long as they want. If they want to keep the intensity up, and as long as the face-off is still going in the direction that it's got some juice and some energy, let them do it. Like, I remember just recent memory, because there's been a few that have gone very long, but like the Tyson Wilder one, that was like 5 minutes of them just staring at each other from 12 feet away. Like, there's a time and a place for that long type of face-off, and I thought this was just the right amount of time.
You are playing with fire, though, right? Like, you're playing with fire.
Oh yeah, especially Garcia, it looked like, right, was getting very agitated, talking to 6 different guys in Haney's camp and trying to get it. But we just saw them kind of have a squabble during Super Bowl week. Like, this is what we're getting. You want this. You want the emotion. You want the rawness of this. And as I said, if it feels at the moment like a big fight. Now, we've got a lot of time before the fight is actually here, and we'll see how that ebbs and flows. But right now, it feels like the energy is there.
What about Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch with some commentary?
The great video,
yes, on Oscar and Ryan's appearance on the program. And of course, to a degree, you could say fair game, because they were, Ryan and Oscar were talking about a potential fight with Sean. Obviously, they made some accusations there. Seems like the fans liked the video very much. In case you missed it, here's Tim and Sean playing the role of Oscar and Ryan.
One, action.
Ryan, we need money. We're in debt from betting, brother.
Oscar, I think I could fuck Sugar Sean up, honestly.
You could fight MMA. You could beat whoever you want. You could beat John Jones.
I seriously think I could wrestle.
Wrestle your security guard. Show him. Prove him. You're an athlete. You're a natural. You can do whatever, brother. Let's get it on. Hold on. Fuck, I'll fight Dana.
Dana, Oscar.
Yeah. Whoa! Let's go on aerial show, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Tim is the star of that, man. Tim is incredible.
Everything on his nose and then throwing out the jab.
Oh, my God.
The reference to wrestling the security, it puts it over the top, because that's in our universe, right?
Oh my God, that was fun stuff. Monday was fun as well. My good friend Spencer, who does a tremendous job with my social media, he put together a bit of a recap of Monday's show. It was, we talked about it being like the Stan Van Gundy, Dwight Howard scrum from back in the day. It wasn't quite exactly as awkward as that, but man, knowing that Eddie was back there, knowing that Ryan, there was some awkwardness. the team in the back did an amazing job of moving all the pieces along and making sure that no drama happened or that nothing intertwined or no one intertwined or no one got into it. Yeah, I mean, you guys killed it. Here's a recap of some of the, I guess, more memorable interactions from Monday's show.
You know, Ryan said some things that, like, it's like no coming back from.
He's an idiot. I just watched a little bit of what he said. He's a dumbass.
Like, you know how, like, most fighters, after, you know, they hug and it's like, all right, you know, good fight, da-da-da, I didn't mean none of that I said. Nah, he said some stuff about my religion that, like, he cannot come back from.
I never disrespected his religion. I want that to be clear right now.
And he knows what he said.
Don't try to start that narrative. I told you, don't bring religion into this. I don't know why you're doing this.
You spoke about my religion. You spoke down on my religion. So now I'm gonna make an example out of you.
Enlighten me with proof of me disrespecting your religion.
You're the man, Ryan. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Respect.
Oscar's going to come in here now, so we say goodbye to Ryan Garcia.
What's up,
Oscar,
brother?
how are you? So good to see you. Please have a
good,
seat.
man. Eddie Hearn had nothing to do with this fight. See, Eddie Hearn is partners with the Zone USA, so I'm sure they're throwing a few crumbs at him.
Does that bother you?
I have no ego.
Okay.
Ego is not my amigo.
Will he be at the press conference tomorrow?
The Zone people called me up saying, hey, just, you know, let him up there. I was like, what the fuck is he gonna be up there for? Like, isn't it uncomfortable for him, like, to put his face there? It had nothing to do with it.
We're going to bring in our next guest here, Eddie Hearn.
Eddie!
Okay, yes, okay.
God damn it.
It's nice to see Oscar.
Yes.
Thanks for the kind words.
Yeah.
Fascinating dynamic here on the program.
I heard all the stuff. A fight of this magnitude, I don't sound egotistical, but needs to go, really. So they brought me in.
If you're not financially involved, is it worth
I'm
your...
financially involved.
Oh, you
That's
are?
the whole point, yeah.
Oh, that is the whole point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be if I wasn't. The fight is in association with Matchroom. Yes, we've got our logos everywhere, nice, but no real involvement. I'll let Oscar take the limelight and Bill, but I think it's a brilliant fight.
Do you think we'll see a scene like where on Fight Night you're kind of Team Ryan and Eddie's Team Haney and you guys are going like toe-to-toe or none of that?
No, because Eddie has nothing to do with this.
That's right. That laugh was great. Ego's not my amigo is a tremendous line. The whole thing was great. If you missed it, go check out Monday's show. Let's turn our attention now to our first guest of the day. He is always a great individual to speak to. I'm curious what he has up his sleeve. First things first, though, it's this Saturday, March 2nd. It's the return of Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA, first ever title fight. It's the legend Cigano Junior dos Santos against Alan Belcher. Other legends on the card as well, including Crazy Horse Charles Bennett. He's our good friend, Gamebred himself, Jorge Masvidal. Hey, what's up, Jorge? How are you?
What's up, my brother?
It's good to see you, my friend. You're looking fantastic as always. By the way, where are you right now? Could I ask?
Undisclosed areas, what people behind the computer telling me to say. Nah, I'm playing, man. I'm in Vegas.
Okay.
Right now. So I had a little trip yesterday, a couple days ago. Or no, what day is it today?
Today's Wednesday.
I was out in Cali for like a couple days, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop by Stockton. I've never been, and I heard the tacos are good over there. Maybe I'll run into Nate. We can make this fight happen. So I was like, yeah, let's go over there. Took the squad over there, wrote down my number and a piece of paper, started handing out to people that looked like they might know Nate Diaz. I met the butcher at the butcher shop, and he was like, yeah, I know Nate well. I was like, that's funny because he's vegan. But whatever, I'm just looking for beef, man. So you let me know how I find this motherfucker. You know, he's like, I know him, bro. I'll get you. Give me your number. I got you. I'll make this happen. So I gave my number out to this fucking dude. I gave it to a couple people. I heard Nate's not that good with the technology. Neither am I. So I was like, fuck it. Maybe we could just do this old school style. Just meet up on the face-to-face and make this shit happen, you know?
Okay. Well, it was kind of wild to see you out there in front of the, you know, the signage and all that stuff. Was that your first time in Stockton?
Yeah, first time in Stockton.
What do you think of it? It's kind of like this mythical place in America, considering the Diaz brothers and how they made it famous. What do you think of the 209? What was your experience like?
Food was pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. I went to this place called was it Lumberjacks? Right, Lumberjacks. Shout out to Lumberjacks. Pretty damn good. Some good pancakes, some good fucking breakfast burritos. Then I had some good tacos as well. The city wasn't a lot of people where I was at. There was some people, but it wasn't like crazy packed. You know, maybe everybody was working in some of the areas that I went to. I went to the Chinatown. It was like empty. Nobody was there. So I was looking for the people. At least where I was at is kind of like the ghost town part, maybe. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
I went everywhere.
Did you actually ever see Nate?
No, I didn't see him, no. But I ran into like 100 people that said, they know him, and then they said, "You're in the wrong county. You got to go over to the next county." What's it called? Lido.
Yes.
Lido. They said he's from Lido, man. You're in the wrong spot. You fucked up. You wasted all this time and money to come over here. You got to go over there. And I was like, shit, man. I don't think I got time for all that today, bro. I got flights to catch and shit. So we didn't get to go over to the next county. But yeah, Stockton was cool.
Around a month or so ago, there was a report that came out that there's a sort of deal in place for you guys to fight each other in a boxing match. Is there anything you can say about that?
There's no deal in place, but I would love to fight this motherfucker in a boxing match, you know. Obviously, I would have loved to have done it MMA. And, you know, when he was free and I was free, it just wasn't working out. I was competing against Usman for the title during that time that he was still with the UFC. And then shortly after that, he got released, you know. So I not released, but he finished out his contract. So we didn't get to make that happen. Now the UFC is so gracious and we struck a great deal. They're going to let me box for a couple matches. Nate could be one of them, hopefully, man. I would love to do it. We got unfinished business. We're both guys that get after him. We're fucking trying to hurt the opponent. You know, I think in boxing, he gets a lot of credit because he's always worked out with great boxing. It's one of his standout things is jiu-jitsu and boxing. So why not just do straight boxing? Because obviously the kicks fucked him up in the MMA. You know, cut up his face, dropped him to the body, dropped him to the head. The 2 times out of the 3 that I dropped him were due to kicks. So it's like the Ben Askren thing, you know. If we go into boxing, you don't got to worry about the knee, cocksucker, you know?
Right. Is Nate your top choice?
Definitely one of the choices, you know? I can't stand, but this is more for personal reasons. I can't stand that lesbian-looking transitional bitch, Chael Sonnen. And no offense to lesbians, because there's some hot, cool-ass lesbians out there. It's just him with them glasses and that haircut. He looks like he's in transition. I would love to bust up Chael, but he would never get into the boxing ring with me. They've offered him all types of crazy money. All he could do is, like, video rants on his fucking cheesy channels, you know. But Chael would be one guy that I would love to break his eye over, just because he's such a cheating fuck. Like, if you take, he's gotten caught with more substances in his body than any other competitor in the history. At one time, he had like 6 or 7 different substances in his body for one of his title fights. It's like, you're a fucking piece of shit human being. You could go out there and hurt somebody just for you to fucking make a paycheck. Because when you're on steroids, as everybody knows, you become like a super soldier. So Chael would be somebody that I would love to fuck up, man. And I would just tell him, do all the steroids you want. It don't matter. I'm still going to break your fucking eye orbital, bro.
Did you guys have like a run-in, or did he say something about you to where it's so personal now?
A run-in? You crazy, bro. That guy, when he sees me, fuck, no way, bro. That guy's always been my biggest fan ever. Now, he's got them Twitter fingers, but there's numerous videos of him giving me praise and all this shit and this and that, you know. But no, it really started kind of because of you. He started talking shit. I took your side, and I really don't like this pussy anyways, you know?
It's my fault.
Yeah, no, it's not your fault. I'm the one that spoke up, but he's just a crotch-sniffing bitch, you know, at his best, Steroids, 7 strands of steroids, training camp, 6 months. All he would do is hug a leg and fucking pray for a fucking decision, you know? So not my cup of tea, obviously, and shit like that. And plus, he's a fake-ass gangster. What is it? This guy's got fucking, what, fraud real estate charges or something? Because he ain't definitely no fucking gangster. But, you know, it's that new age shit. People fucking say shit and do shit, and then your little followers and minions believe it, you know? But him and Kobe the same cloth, bitches.
So could I just ask last thing about your fighting? When do you think we'll find out? Because you say that the UFC gave you the clearance, so you're back. You're going to fight in boxing. You want to have that match. When do you think we'll find out what your plans are as far as your fighting career this year?
Shit, I don't know, man. I got no idea, man.
You think soon?
Summer free, man. Now I ain't got no charges, no cases on me, no probation. So maybe make this shit happen sooner than later. I know it's gonna happen this year. I don't know.
Okay.
When and stuff, there's a lot of paperwork, you know, and all that bullshit politics. But I'm ready to throw down, man.
Why'd you tweet "You're dead" to Nate?
I went into a sparring session, sparred some motherfuckers up that are supposed to be pretty damn good.
Oh.
I fucking lit them up, and I was like, man. It was just a feeling, not like I'm physically going to kill this dude or something, but on the day we step in that boxing ring, you're fucking dead, bro. We're going to go boxing. I'm going to leave you in a box, bro.
What do you think, by the way, of him versus Jake? Like his skills?
What I didn't like from Nate in that fight is that, you know, I've been watching Nate, I don't know, 16 years. He's been near my weights. You know, he was at 155 or 170, and so was I, and we were same organizations. So I've always seen Nate, you know, and I just didn't think for that fight he was prepared. Like I think he just fucking said, bro, I'm fighting this Disney kid, and he literally came up off the couch, and maybe 2-3 weeks he trained getting ready for Jake, and he didn't give it the type of shape that he should have been in. I know for a fact he won't make that mistake with me because he knows I'm trying to put him out. And if he's not in shape, I'm going to 100% put him out just quicker, you know? So one thing I can say about that fight is I don't think he respected as much as he should have, you know?
Okay. Well, that would be fascinating. I'm very curious to see how this all turns out, and didn't even know that you would be in Stockton when we booked this, because the reason why we booked this was because you have your next show this coming Saturday in Orlando, Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA, title fight, Junior dos Santos against Alan Belcher, who
fucking kidding.
Old school fans will remember Alan Belcher as a 185er, has now had great success as a heavyweight, and especially in this world. Why are you so excited about Cigano versus Belcher?
Well, if we run it back to last year when we started this, we had Junior dos Santos versus Fabricio Verdum on one side of the bracket. We had Alan Belcher versus Roy Nelson on the other side of the bracket. We let the cream rise, you know. Alan Belcher, Roy Nelson, very close fight, very competitive fight. Boom, we got the winner of that. Kind of same thing with Fabricio Verdum and JDS. JDS won. It wasn't like a crazy back and forth fight. He won, but it wasn't like the biggest margin and separation between him and Verdum, you know. So I think both these guys got that in the back of the head where they're like, fuck, bro, I want to make a statement. I want to go out there. And now that I know what this MMA bare knuckles like laid out on the line, I've been talking to both competitors a lot, and both of them are in the right place. In the case of Allen, he's been training since his fight with Roy Nelson, so I expect him to come in tip-top shape. JDS hasn't stopped training as well either. I've been seeing pictures, talking to him as well on video, and he looks fucking phenomenal, you know. We got the open workout today, which you could check out with our partner that I'm very happy to announce. Part of the reason why I'm also so happy for this partnership is that everything is absolutely and utterly free. There's no paywall, no credit card. You get to see all the footage, the backstage, the workouts, the weigh-ins, the backstage brawls that be happening at my events, as we know. So you get to watch it all on kick.com. So please don't miss out. This is all for the fucking fans. Free as can be.
Oh, there you are. We lost you there. Okay, so you were saying free as can be. It's on kick.com. You just signed this deal. Is this a long-term deal? Or is it just for this event? Okay, you happy with it?
This will be a long-term deal, our exclusive partnership. I'm very, very happy, man. Me and my team, we attack the world of MMA a lot. We see where it's also going. Streaming is obviously, it's not now. It's been already this fucking massive tsunami is just fucking coming in on everything. So we wanted to partner up with the biggest streamer, some of the front runners in the fucking streaming race, and Kick by far is the leader from seeing the numbers, seeing what they're doing, what they're going to be doing. So this deal, I could say, is one of my favorite and most fucking, not just lucrative deals, but best deals for the company as far as getting our name out there. And like I said, it's free, so everybody gets to fucking watch everything that we're doing on Fight Week, behind the stage, all that shit, free as can be. And that's always what I wanted to do, is just show this product to the world and let the world decide where this product falls.
Do you know what number event this is for Gamebred Bareknuckle? What are you at now, like 5, 6?
Here's the thing. So we had a couple events, our test events in Mississippi.
Yeah, I remember.
Biloxi, Mississippi. Yeah, we had a bunch of those, and then we did a little blueprint. We kind of stepped it up a little bit, and we changed the name. We started investing more money. So it's still the same company, still the same people, but we did change up the name slightly. So really, in my eyes, it's like event number 8 that we do a bare knuckle, number 7, something like that, I think. But with the new company, it's our 4th event.
The reason I asked that is, you've been around this game a long time. I as well, not as long as you, but obviously have seen promotions come and go. And I think some people thought like, oh, a fighter's promotion, this and that. This will last 2 events, like Affliction, and just kind of go away. Here you are approaching your 10th event with bare knuckle. And I know you've done other disciplines as well. And you just signed this deal. It seems to be going well. Are you happy with where the business is at, where you currently stand?
I'm extremely happy.
Okay.
I'm extremely happy. More so, all this is possible only and utterly because, one, the strong team that I have with me, because I'm just one guy. I'm just recruiting guys. I'm matchmaking, and I'm doing this interviews and talking to you about it. But behind me, there's a very strong team that is making all the fighters feel comfortable, getting their medicals done, transportation, commissions, venues, all that stuff. So big shout out to my team, Dean Two and the Pensacola Boys, Victoria Gonzalez, Chris Edward Noria. All these motherfuckers make this dream possible. So it's fucking an amazing fucking feeling. I've also thrown a couple boxing shows. Maybe we're like on 6 boxing shows that we've thrown. And we did Icon MMA Glove for about 8 shows. We were in UFC Fight Pass for a year, and we just finally found the home for it. It's going to be starting at the end of the year. We're going to have Icon back as well. And this is something that I love, man. I just love to compete myself, but also to promote. It's so intertwined. It's kind of like the same thing for me, you know. So I love it. I could do this all day. Just watch films of guys that I want to recruit, then go recruit them, and then get on your show and talk about these guys that I'm gonna recruit. You know, it's like the fucking perfect marriage, you know.
No, it's great. I give you a lot of credit because I think some people would like to do it for 1 or 2 events and then kind of realize how hard it is to put on an event. And I could see the passion that you have for it. Like as a promoter, it seems like you really enjoy it. Is part of the reason why you enjoy it because you're giving opportunities to guys, right? Like the Charles Crazy Horse Bennett's of the world and Joe Kuani's of the world and the Chase Shermans of the world. Like you're giving opportunities to fighters who need opportunities. Is that part of the appeal too?
Part when I started the league, I always thought back to the late great Kimbo Slice. He invited me to his backyard, right, as everybody knows. And back then he was a rock star, getting 30 million views a fucking fight. You know, and he invites this spick from Miami that nobody fucking knows, and just him that he happened to be at the same gym and he thought I had good hands. He said, "Hey man, come fight for my show, get your shine on, you know, fucking walk through these doors and take what's yours," you know. And that always stuck with me because he didn't have to. And then that ended up being one of my most viewed fights. I mean, I'm not trying to exaggerate, but I've seen some videos that have, and there's so many videos of it that have like 30, 40 million views, you know. So that always resonated with me very well. So when I had the chance to do this as well, I'm like, man, I'm going to do the same exact damn thing for all these guys and as big as I can. I'm going to get this huge platform. I'm going to have all the eyeballs of MMA watching. And then I'm going to get the best, meanest, up-and-coming, well-established dudes that are free agents to come fight for us. And we're going to get them as much exposure as possible. And, you know, when it's a guy that was like fighting on the regular circuit, he was getting like, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 views per fight. And then he came on a show and then he did like 500,000 views. That's it, man. That fucking fills me with so much joy. It fills these guys up with joy. They fucking hit us back. They want to fight. They know they're getting crazy exposure. I mean, when JDS fought Fabricio Verdum, we had a 5-hour stream. And in that 5-hour stream, we had 1 million people watching.
Wow.
You know, I always say this stat, but it's a fucking crazy one because that's nuts to get, as you know very well, to keep 1,000 people watching something for 5 hours is not the easiest thing, you know? So that definitely showed us, the investors and everybody part of the team, that we're headed down in the right direction. We definitely have a product that the fans are fucking with and love, and we're the only ones doing this. So good luck, everybody else.
What's it like doing business with Crazy Horse?
Oh, I love this dude. Don't call him that, though. He might.
He doesn't like it anymore. Is that bad?
It's felony.
Oh, fuck.
You call his ass.
Sorry.
You call his ass felony.
No, my bad. He prefers felony over Crazy Horse, huh?
You don't want him rolling up. He might be in your studio right now.
No, much love, Charles. Much love, Mr. Bennett. I'm a big fan.
I've always been a huge fan of felony. Joe the Party comes to fucking fight every damn time. So this is one of my picks for fight of the night right here. I got about 2 of them. This is definitely one of them.
What's the other one?
Well, I'm not counting the main event.
Right.
I kind of, you know, Alex Nicholson, Chase Sherman is going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a war. It's going to. I know both these guys well. They fought already before too. They're both from Florida, so I saw them both coming up in smaller promotions, work their way through the UFC and all the other promotions that they fought in. Both guys are very like-minded, where they don't give a fuck how much damage they take or have to get into, or the risk they have to take to get the finish. So at some point, these dudes are just gonna fucking throw down, and somebody's leaving the stretcher.
And for those that don't know, if they've never seen one of your events, I've enjoyed it. By the way, Kayla Harrison gonna be back. I enjoyed her on the commentary. She back on?
No, she's a little busy prepping for her fights and stuff. We didn't want her traveling to Orlando,
Fair.
4 hours this way, 4 hours that way. That's our champion right there. We need Kayla to go out there and fucking show the world what she's made out of, you know. So we don't want to fucking mess with her in any way. Shout out to Ms. Harrison.
She's the best. Okay, so it's for non-title fights, 3 5-minute rounds in a cage, MMA rules but with no gloves, and then the title fight is the same 5 5-minute rounds. Yes.
And you could go bet on these fights with our latest partner, Stake.com, that is our official partner for all the betting, everything, our main title sponsor as well. You know, so big shout out to Stake. Huge magnitude of a deal, you know. We're doing really well. And like you said, all those shows that like were here and that are not now here, I fought in a lot of those shows like overseas, some here in America. I don't know if you remember Bodog, Ariel.
Yes.
And, you know, maybe you remember Strike Force.
Yes.
You know, you remember Sengoku.
Yes.
All these shows I fought for, and then they went under, you know. And I took a lot of notes during that time, not knowing that I was going to be a promoter then, but I would just look into these things, you know. I mean, Bellator, I could say now, is pretty much also not around as much anymore now, right? Because they just bought purchase. So that's another show that I fought in, and I've always noticed in shows certain things that I liked as a fighter, promoter, and things that I didn't, and that's what I try to bring into the game and keep the fucking fans happy, man. And what the fans want is they're not looking for pictures of salads and who's eating what in this. They want fucking violence. So I go out there and I sign the most violent motherfuckers in the world. I convince them to take these gloves off. I pay them real well for that, and then I get them as much exposure possible, put them on the fucking show, and let the world fucking enjoy, man.
What about getting it in as many states as possible? Because I know that there's other bare knuckle organizations that have been doing this. Can you, if like BKFC is good, does that mean you're good as well? Or because you're a different form of bare knuckle, does that mean you have to go out and try to get your own sort of licenses in these states? Do you know what I mean?
First and foremost, we're the only MMA bare knuckle.
Exactly. Secondly, that's what I mean.
Second, if a commission says, yeah, you could do this bare knuckle, then that usually means you could do that bare knuckle as well. It's not 100% always like that and that transparent, but more times than not. And definitely, we want to make this legal in every fucking state,
Yeah. By the way, was there any talk of you fighting on 300? I know you were free, but there were some people who were like, oh, this could use a Jorge, this could use a Nate. Did they ever kick the can with you on that?
There was some flirting, definitely. There was a lot of flirting. There was a lot of this and that, for the Miami card as well.
Yeah.
How are you going to go to Miami and not have your boy on there, right? That's a common thought. But fucking, yeah, there was a little bit of talk for it, it just, nothing materialized.
Were you interested?
Yeah, big part of me was definitely interested. But I already had kind of like, I want to do boxing, man. I've been doing MMA for 20 years. I kind of just want to box and just have fun doing something else, something different. MMA is my number one sport, my number one activity to do. But yeah, I opted the boxing route for now.
Are they going to bring you out to wrap the belt around the winner of Gaethje and Holloway, the BMF title fight?
Oh, you got to ask Hunter and Dana.
Well, I made it happen the last time. Remember that? I mean, it was
did.
But do you want to even do that? Do you even want to do that?
Oh, I'm a humongous fan of Max Holloway. Not that I don't like Gaethje, because I like the way he fights and all that. Maybe just a little sour that he beat my boy, my little brother Dustin. But other than that, I mean, both guys are fucking great competitors. They put it all on the line to get the fucking finish, to give the fans what they want. So I think it's a great title for BMF. Obviously, I'm rocking with Max. I'm a fucking huge fan of this guy, in and out of the cage. I love his fight style. So I got my money on Max.
Okay. By the way, you see this Ilia Topuria of Spain? You see how big he's blowing up, huh?
I told you, motherfucker.
Did you tell
me what?
Did you?
I told you. I told the whole world. I've been telling everybody about Johnny Eblin and my boy Ilia.
Yeah, that's right. We need to just get Johnny Eblin not to spend $85,000 on women in one shopping spree. That might be a problem, no?
I mean, he's just getting a lot of money, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not his bank accountant, but he's getting a lot of money. Or maybe he likes to be like, damn, I got to go make some money because I just spent so much money right now that I got to knock this dude out and get a bonus or something. Maybe that's what he does. He like psychologically preps himself like that. I don't know, man.
It's just a lot of money. I mean, one shopping spree, 85. Have you ever spent that much in one shopping outing?
But what type of shopping though? Like clothes?
I don't know. I don't know what he was shopping. I mean, it seemed like it was clothes. It was $85,000 reportedly.
I've spent $85,000, but
I mean, not on a car. On a car or something like that, I can understand. But like, it seemed like there was just clothes, and not not for himself.
That's a decent amount of clothes right there, man. Yeah, but this high-end shit gets expensive quick. So I can see how I can get the 85, but nah, me personally, I haven't spent 85K at the Louis store. And I've spent some decent numbers, but not 85,000.
I like that shirt. Who's that?
I got Amidi.
Okay.
Ain't cheap either, brother.
Yeah, I know. By the way, I saw a video of you rock climbing, and it didn't look like you had like any kind of like harness or anything. Do you know what I'm talking about? What was that all about? And should you be doing that? Is that smart for you and your safety?
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about me doing all that rock climbing shit. I mean,
it's not rumors. You posted it on your social media. We're showing it right now.
Oh, okay. It was posted on the social media. I don't know, 'cause I didn't necessarily record the video or post the video.
Okay.
So I didn't know what was out there yet. But yeah, I don't know. I've been climbing rocks without fucking those little ropes for a long time, and when looking at the video again, yeah, the angle looked a little steep. At the time, I was just like, I can't fall because I'll get hurt. but I didn't think it was as crazy as it looked in the video. You know, it was a good time. I you know, when I climb, my mind is so present at that moment, and you're just so chill that I love it, man. It's like one of the best pastimes, you know, whether it's hiking. Now that I've been in Vegas for a while, I've gotten to do a lot of cool ass hikes and rock climbing, something that I like to do on my downtime when I'm not at the gym, you know, and it just lets my mind be very present, not focus on my phone or what I'm going to do the next task. It's just like, don't fall, don't fall, you know, and I love it. I love it.
Do you live in Vegas now?
No, I don't live in Vegas, but I could say I got like a little bit of a residency here.
Okay. And is there any particular reason for that?
Just checking out boxing gyms, staying in shape. You know, I was still am part of always and forever of the best MMA gym that ever has been created. American Top Team, as everybody knows, down in South Florida. And I lived in Miami, which was an hour away from me, and I would drive there every day, happy as fuck, with a smile on my face, because I thought it was the best training that I could possibly get. So coming out here to Vegas, I've kind of felt like there's a lot of really, really good training in Vegas. There's a lot of good boxers here, and the lifestyle here is very fitting for boxing. So I've just been coming out here a lot, just trying to get in shape, see what it's like, see what the routine is like, and make my decision of where I'm going to go.
Exactly a year ago, this time, late February, you were getting ready for that fight in Miami, which, you know, you had, and then you retired. I remember we spoke right after, and you said you were pretty much done. Obviously, you're not done. You're coming back, but in boxing. What is the difference between this Jorge and the Jorge from exactly a year ago?
Shit, man. The mental space and a lot of the side shit that I was doing, a lot of the stuff that was coming my way, that was monetary, it was good stuff, it was good money. I just cut off a lot of businesses that I had. I sold off, I liquidated a lot of things, and I just want to compete and do my promotions, and that's something very important to me. And then on top of that, I just, you know, like if I knew 100 people last year, I know like 37 this year, you know?
Wow.
So I've been cutting off. Yeah, I've just been cutting off and closing the doors, and just, I'm a fucking horse. Then you just have the blinders on and sprint, you know? So that's it, man. I'm ready to compete. I'm going to be in much better shape than I've ever been in my life, because I've been training already. Like, I had a date, and I just can't wait to get the date.
Wow. And why did you feel like you had to do that?
Well, you know, several things happened. Like right after I retired, like bad things, you know, like, oh man, fucking from personal, business, every which way, family. And I got into like a serious depression because of it, because I wasn't working out at the time. When I retired, I was like fucking, my head was messed up, knowing that if I don't train, I'll fall into like a depression, because, you know, you need the guys have been doing this for so while. You need to feel those endorphins, that adrenaline pumping every day. If not, your body slowly but surely starts to think something's wrong, you know? So in the mix of that, I started getting really, really depressed. And then as you know, and everybody knows, my dad had like a little incident where he ended up getting locked up. And that was like the camel in the horse's back. It just fucking devastated me. I went back into the courtroom, saw my pops getting locked up again for like fifth time, you know? So it's fucking very traumatic, very, very strong. But it shocked me fucking so much to the core. That same day that they locked his ass up, I put my running shoes on. I hadn't done nothing for like a month and a week or something. And I went for a long run. I just ran for like an hour and change until I was completely fatigued. And when I came out of that run, I felt so damn good. And I had so many thoughts on how to fix the current problems and all these things. And I was like, I don't give a fuck if I never compete a day again in my life. And I mean this, Ariel, because since that day to now, I've trained every fucking day, whether there's something on the line or not, just for self-peace and for myself. You know, I did it for 20 years. Why the fuck would I just stop? So the main thing that I took away from that is that, man, I need to stay fucking doing my thing every day. No matter what happens, I got my routine. I need to get to do it. And then I'll do the rest of the stuff or whatever the world's asking me to do. But I need to wake up and train. That's golden for me. And that is what led to me getting this boxing match. And you know, I told the UFC, let me do these boxing matches. I'll come back and do another UFC fight down the line. There's a lot of guys that I'd like to take out, maybe some rematches as well. So we're going to see.
Wow. That is great. I didn't know about all of that, and I'm happy that you're on the other side of that. Just curious, since you brought him up, how is your dad's situation now?
Oh, he's good. He's good right now. He's good. We still got court. You know, he's out right now. We got court. We got trial and stuff. But yeah, it was like big news in South Florida. Yeah. Fucking everybody knew where I lived, so I sold my motherfucking house. The cameras came. Everybody saw my backyard. There's like 50-something cops outside of my house. It was a whole fucking ordeal, you know. It was all over the press, the fucking national news and stuff. So it was was like a tough time, bro. But your boy's back, man. Let's go.
Okay. And I can't wait to hear that news. For now, though, it's March 2nd this weekend in Orlando. If you're not in Orlando, it's on kick.com exclusively. It's Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA. It's Junior dos Santos against Alan Belcher for your first ever title. It's the heavyweight title on the line. Alex Nicholson, as you said, we're showing the poster right now against Chase Sherman. And Felony, Mr. Charles Bennett, as I like to call him, also on the card. A lot of familiar names on this once again. And it's great stuff. It's great stuff. I'm very happy for you, and I hope that you can continue this and give these guys these opportunities. It's great to see.
Oh, 100%. We got another 5 to 6 shows coming this year. So we're going to be in everybody's face, man. You're going to have no chance but to watch these fights and put up with them. And I'm going to keep inviting you to my show, Ariel.
I will.
So you keep lying to your fans, telling them, yeah, I'm coming to the next one, and never show up.
I will be at a Gamebred fight this year. That's my vow to you.
All right, you said it, man, in front of all your fans.
That's
bro.
right. That's right.
They'll hold you to it, man.
And by the way, I loved seeing you with Action in Miami, Action Bronson.
Oh, yes, sir. That's the man right there. I love that dude.
The greatest of all time. That was great to see you two out there. What a freaking legend. Unbelievable. Would love to see more.
I got to get him out to one of my shows, man. I got to tell him.
He's a huge fight fan. He would love it as well.
Yeah. And he knows his shit well, man.
Does.
He's been watching this the whole fucking time it's been on.
Much love to you, Jorge. Thank you very much for coming on. As always, good luck this Saturday. We'll be watching. Congrats on all the deals, and keep it up. All the best to you.
Most violent show on earth, March 2nd, Junior dos Santos versus Alan Belcher, Gamebred MMA, bare knuckle. Okay, bare knuckle MMA, I meant to say. Don't fucking miss out, man.
Much love.
Let's go.
There he is.
Thank you, my brother.
Jorge Masvidal joining us, and yes, that is this Saturday. So a busy day once again in the world of combat sports, and it's great to see what he's doing. And seems like he's got something in the oven regarding his own fighting. So let us keep an eye on that. For now, though, let us move along to our next guest. Very much in the news as of late in the world of boxing and MMA. She returned to MMA this past Saturday in Saudi Arabia on the PFL Bellator card, and she was victorious. And a lot of people had a lot of thoughts on the performance, and perhaps now she goes back to boxing. We'll find out about all of that and more with the GWOAT, Claressa Shields, who is kind enough to join us. Hello, Claressa. How are you?
Hey, y'all. How you doing? I'm fine.
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. I presume you are back from Saudi Arabia. Could you tell us, how was it? How was it being involved in the first women's MMA fight in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
It was very nice. They were very, welcoming. We got there were flowers and people had on their clothing and stuff like that. And the food was really good and clean. I enjoyed it. I just didn't get to ride the camels like I wanted, but I still had a good time.
Okay, so overall, a positive experience for you.
Yes.
Okay, so then what about the fight itself? Now that you've had a few days to digest the fight, your performance, how do you feel about what you did out there? Why do you laugh?
I feel like the fight should have been a unanimous win, not a split, if I'm being honest. I caused way more damage to Kelsey than she did me. I was really proud of myself because in my last MMA fight, I really couldn't recognize a takedown, so I was terrible at sprawling. I didn't know that cage fighting even existed, so I won those battles on the cage with, Kelsey. And just the punches I was landing and everything. And then I watched the fight back. I only watched the highlights. I haven't watched the full fight because I want to let myself bask in my victory. But I know as soon as I see the whole fight, I'm going to want to go back to the gym and get better. I only have 2 things in the fight that I was like, dang, I wish that I would have been able to get back up from being taken down the 3rd round because I know how to get back up. It just was like, I was doing something wrong and I had my hips flat instead of picking a side. So that's why I couldn't get her off me the 3rd round. But when you're sweating and you're throwing punches and all this different stuff is happening, it just makes your mind start putting all your thoughts together. And I forgot one little detail and wasn't able to get back up. But I feel like the rest of the fight, I dominated. And, the armbar, I believe, happened in the 1st round, which really didn't have too much of an effect on me.
How close were you to tapping? It looked dangerous for a minute there.
0.
Break
it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't even tap in practice.
Wow.
I'm being honest with you. It's not the thing of being a white belt or whatever the case may be. I just don't believe in it. I had trained too hard, and the only goal was to win, you know? So does tapping contribute to winning? No, it makes you lose. So that's the last thought that I had. I mean, when I watched the video, I'm like, dang, she had in there pretty deep. She's using all her might. I'm surprised my arm is not broken, you know? But that just goes to the testament of just that grit and how strong I am and strong-minded. And honestly, in the fight, I did have the thought like, dang, she got it. And I'm like, dang. But I was thinking to myself, she might as well go ahead and break it because I'm not going to tap. And I'm going to come out here next round and beat her ass with the right hand.
What is it like being arguably the best in your field, right? You are, in many people's eyes,
boxing.
Yes, the number one pound for pound female boxer on the planet, two-time Olympic gold medalist. Like you do not know what it is like to have any sort. I mean, obviously there's struggles, but like when you are competing, usually it's a pretty good day at the office, and then you walk into something else in your prime while you are still the best, and it's a struggle, right? You come out on top, but it's not the walk in the park. What is that like? Because we were talking about this on Monday, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I equated what you're doing now. The best example that I could think of was when Michael Jordan decided to go and try baseball. He was at the top of his game, and then he goes to baseball, and he's like batting 198, 200, and he's struggling. And then you say you go back to basketball, and you're Michael Jordan, you're the greatest of all time. This feels the same. You could just stay in boxing and be the best. And so I'm wondering why, A, you do this and what it's like when you're doing this when it's not as easy as it is for you in boxing.
I'm not going to lie to you, Ariel. It's hard, you know. It's hard because I'm hard on myself and I have so many expectations for myself and my team has expectations for itself. I mean, for myself. And then it's just, MMA is just different, you know, but in a weird, crazy way, I actually find like some kind of comfort in the whole not being the greatest thing in MMA and knowing that when I win, it's always going to be a surprise to people. It's always going to be something in a fight where it's like, oh, this is MMA. This is what she's not good at. And I just feel like at first I was doing MMA to prove to people like, hey, boxers can do MMA. That's why I was doing it. And that I could win a fight. I wanted to win a fight. And then I won that fight by a third round knockout with Brittany Elkin. And then I fought against Abby and I lost a split decision. But in my mind, up at first, I was like, if these girls got way more ground game than me, way more experience, you know, way more just everything that I have in MMA compared to them is less. Except my boxing, I'm like, why aren't these girls submitting me? Why aren't they knocking me out? Why aren't they choking me out? And the answer I got was because I have potential to be an MMA champion. That's why. If I was just a regular old Joe and not athletic and not really a true fighter and a true combat fighter, then MMA wouldn't even exist for me. But it's the fact that I am just really a dog. And I love fighting. I love the art of war. And I'm willing to put in a hard work. That's how I wanted to fight. I put in so much hard work for this girl. She's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. A purple belt. So I think it goes white, blue, purple.
There's brown,
black.
Yeah.
I believe. So it's just like for her to be a purple belt and me be a white belt, you know, she's still, and then she's also more experienced in MMA. She had 3 fights compared to my 2, and I'm 1-1. But she also have Muay Thai fights and have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fights, and I don't have those things. So I knew that going in here with her was a risk, but we worked on my weaknesses. But winning in boxing, winning in MMA, it's fulfilling. And then it's funny to me because I feel like in MMA I have more doubters than I have in boxing. Nobody in boxing doubts me.
No.
It's a couple haters here and there, but You seriously gonna tell me that it's a girl right now in boxing that can beat me? Nobody can stand on that. But when you say it's girls in MMA who even on a lower level can beat me, people get all excited, like, yeah, somebody can finally beat her. And then when I win, it just make all of them mad. So it's very satisfying to me when they be punching the air and pulling their hair when I win, because it's just like, yes, I worked hard, I won, you doubted me, you're mad, you suck.
Why put yourself through this, though?
Put myself through what? Fighting?
No, like, I guess the thing is, why not just stick to boxing? You're so good at it. Why do you even need this?
Internal satisfaction. It's something in me that just wanna. I have to be solidified as the baddest bitch.
Okay.
So it's like I'm the GOAT in boxing, and now I want to be the GOAT in MMA. So I feel like to be the GOAT in MMA, if I become PFL world champion, nobody should say nothing else to me about boxers can't do MMA and MMA fighters can't transition. I don't want to hear nothing. Because my goal is to be boxing world champion. Like right now, I'm undisputed with all the titles. I want to be undisputed world champ, and I want to be PFL world champ at the same time. And I plan on going for that in the next 2-3 years.
Your next fight will be in MMA or in boxing?
Boxing.
Okay. Against who?
I don't know, man. All these girls chirping, but after I won, they real quiet.
When would you like to fight?
They real quiet. I would love to punch Alicia Baumgartner in the mouth. She said she'd fight me at 154, so let's run it.
I have a question about.
I would love to fight Chris.
So before we get to the next one, you and Alicia would obviously be gigantic on a boxing, worldwide level, but obviously from Michigan too, right? You are both from Michigan. It's a huge deal.
She's from Ohio. She's not from Michigan.
Okay, I think she reps Michigan, right? Does she not?
She wants to be adopted by Detroit, but she's from Ohio.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I see the back.
I'm from Michigan.
I know. Shout out. Yes. Shout out to Flint.
Flint Town.
I see the back and forth, and you're huge stars. I mean, it would be gigantic, but she typically fights at like 126. That's a huge jump, no?
She called me out.
Yeah.
She called me out and said she can knock me out. So I want to give her the opportunity to do it. Even though right now she's still suspended because she tested positive for PEDs. Hopefully she's get unsuspended soon so we can send her a contract and we can make a fight happen at 154. That's the lowest weight class that I'm going to. And that's it. Same thing with I want to fight against Chris Cyborg. I don't know how these girls all of a sudden start beefing with me out of nowhere. But it's like the beef with Chris Cyborg is probably like the most shocking and surprising than any other beef that I have.
Why?
It's because a guy had some money for me and Chris Cyborg to fight. He was speaking of a fight as big as Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, right? I said, I got the perfect person. I said, Chris Cyborg. Amanda Nunes is retired.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Nunes, she's retired. So I thought about Chris, and she was my friend. I hit her up. I got money for us. I'm like, let's make it happen. She all like, oh, thanks for hitting me up. Like, of course, I'll get back with you. All of a sudden, the money is right. Everything is good. She's crying about the weight class. I already told you what weight class the fight was going to be at. 154. Why are you trying to get me to come to 147? Then after that, she talking about she'll knock me out at 147. She'll do this. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. When I sparred against Chris Cyborg in 2018, I took it easy on her. I let her and her team doctor up a video to make it look close. But the first and second round, I beat the shit out of Chris Cyborg. She cannot box. Okay? So it was just like, and then we were supposed to work together more, but after I beat her in sparring, she didn't want to spar no more. But I told her, if you ever need me in your camp for boxing, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll still come and help you. We don't got to spar. She never called me. So for her to be saying she'll knock me out at 147 and power this and power that, Chris Cyborg got power in MMA because you have all those different arts you can use. In boxing, Chris Cyborg can't mess with me on the day that I'm sick with the flu.
Why don't they do you versus Chris PFL but boxing? I want to see you. I don't want to see you guys in MMA. I want to see you in boxing. And you're both under PFL, right? They have her rights.
So what are you saying? You want to see us box in the cage?
Nah, screw the cage.
What
PFL should just put on a boxing event.
Chris Cyborg does not want to fight me. She keeps talking about fighting at 147. I've never had a professional fight at 147. Why would I go to 147 if it's not for a world title?
You know, you mentioned something on Twitter, like, I think it was on Twitter. Yeah, you said, you know, like, this is so confusing. Chris is in my DMs wishing me luck and then talking smack publicly. You know why that is, right?
No, I don't.
Well, I don't know who's writing what, but like for the most part, the DMs, and I love Chris and she's a legend, but the DMs is Chris. The public stuff is not Chris.
Oh, is it Ray?
Yes.
Oh, well, look, that would make complete sense. But it's just the fact of like, I don't really.
Ray's her fiance, by the way,
dislike.
for those that don't know.
Huh?
I'm just telling the audience that Ray's her fiance, for those that don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't really have a beef with Chris. I don't really have a reason to have a beef with Chris. If she, you know, we had money on the table, we could have boxed. We could have did like a Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury type of deal in women's boxing. We could have done that. But if the fight not at 54, then we just have to dead it. But it's the fact of like, that's why I walked up on her up at Radio Row, because don't be talking shit online. And then when you see me, act like we cool. Like I walked up to her and I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
And then she started talking. Then she's like, oh, I'm too inexperienced for you. Why are you calling me out? Why do you want to fight me? I'm like, first you're inexperienced, then you're too small. And now you're asking me why do I want to fight you? But then you're saying, fight me at 147. Which one is it? Do you want to fight or not?
Which fight, if you had both presented to you, Alicia Baumgartner or Chris Cyborg, which one would you prefer?
I would actually take both of them the same day if I could.
If you could, but that's probably not going to happen. Like, which one would you want first?
Honestly, I would like Alicia Baumgartner first. I feel like she would be the tougher fight. She got some skills. I mean, 1 through 10, her skills about like a 4, you know, compared to my 10. But she talks like she's a 10.
Yeah.
She talks like she's a 10. So why not give her a shot? She wants to be a big superstar. She want to be on my level. So in order to do that, you have to, you know, at least compete against somebody who is worth the damn. Like, to me, her biggest and best opponent was Michaela Mayer, and she didn't even want to give her a rematch because the fight was so close. So I would love to just shut her up. The best way to shut anybody up is to win. That's it. Like, I'm not really, you know, going back and forth with her constantly online, going live. Like, she done went live and done all these interviews and done all this stuff about me. I done made some tweets here and there. But now I'm to a point, if we're not going to fight, if you're not going to get unsuspended, then I don't think that we should even keep entertaining you. But if she want to fight, I'm not going to turn down no smoke. She can get beat up.
There was a time where I remember both of you speaking quite highly of each other. Where did things go wrong?
Yeah. It went wrong when she called me out.
Just out of the blue, or did something happen for her to do that?
Nothing. A guy had a video of 5 years ago where I sparred him and I got dropped. His gloves he had on warm gloves and he dropped me.
Yeah.
And the video was just like spiraling out of everywhere. So I didn't respond to the video for like days. But I got so many haters, people started sharing it, tagging me, and then it kind of got big, I guess. She saw the video, and then when she saw the video, her being my friend, she don't know when it happened, when this video came out. So the first part was she spoke on the video, and then said that, and then she called me out, and then said that she knew that she know that she can knock me out with that same punch because he did it. But at this time, me and her are still friends. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm seeing all this stuff, and it's not people telling me what she said. I'm seeing everything. I follow her. I follow her on Instagram, Twitter, and everything. So when I'm seeing all this stuff, I'm like, damn, how fake. You don't know when this video of me getting dropped even happened, but you ain't even call and say, dang, girl, hey, are you okay? Are you all right? Is this video new? Is it old? Do you need anything? You just went straight to jumping on the bandwagon while everybody else was attacking me, you started attacking me. And then she got very disrespectful with the attack. So then when she got disrespectful with the attack, it was like, okay, now it's up. It's beef now. And it's not that, I have a problem with her calling me out, but I have a problem with you being a fake friend. So that's why I want you to stay away from me, lose my number. Like, after she called me out, she texted my phone talking about some, hey, I heard you, I see you had I had lost 2 of my cousins in the same week. One of my cousins fell and bumped his head. My other cousin got shot and killed in the same week last month.
Sorry.
I had 2 cousins, die in the same week. Thank you. And they were cousins that were, close to me. And it got to the point where I'm not even about to go back and forth with her. Like I got real life stuff going on. Like, I just lost 2 cousins. She texted my phone after she called me out. She talking shit online. She texted my phone talking about some, hey, boxing is boxing, but family is real, and what's your address, and can I send you and your family some flowers? Like, what? No. And I told her she can quit texting my phone, delete my number, and me and my family don't want no flowers from her. Period. But it's the fact of people just be being so fake and so phony, but everybody is living for clout now, so that's where I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I have really no words for her except for fight me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be antagonized. I'm not going to be let nobody feel like they bullying me or nothing like that, because I don't get bullied. You know what I'm saying? But it's more the fact of you're not going to keep thinking that you can say whatever you want to say about me, and then when I speak back, now it's a problem. So really, I just want to fight her and beat her up for her being disrespectful and being a fake friend, and just leave it at that. Really, I'm being honest.
She has said that she didn't intentionally, take any PEDs, that she's innocent and all that stuff, that the truth will come out. Do you believe her?
I mean, is the truth going to come out, or did they say she was guilty and she didn't? It was in her system, but she didn't take it on purpose. I don't really know. Honestly, this is what I want people to understand about me. I was a fan and a friend of her. Anything I said, I meant. She is a good boxer. Compared to me, she's just good. I'm great. But I am saying that me and her have had talks about VADA and about drug testing. And I told her, now you undisputed champ, every fight you have, there should be drug testing, because these girls will do anything to just get the W over you. It's gonna change their life, So the fact that we had these conversations and she actually had Eddie get her signed up for the drug program that she was in, I don't think that Alicia is actually a drug cheat.
Okay.
I don't. Did I think it was strange that she walk around on weight? Yes. But also too, if you eat healthy and you work out all the time and you skate or whatever you do, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really look at it too much. But when it came out, I still didn't, like I said, jump on the bandwagon when everybody was attacking her. You didn't see me jump on the bandwagon, not one time. Not one time. But then when it's the other way around, when people are attacking me, she does the complete opposite and tries to get clout. So that's where the respect for her is lost. But I think she's fake, but I don't think that she's an actual drug cheat. But like she said, let the results come out and do the drug testing or whatever they got to do. But
by the way, this weekend in Puerto Rico, Amanda Serrano fighting again, 3-minute rounds. What do you think of this? Would you like to do this as well?
Well, 3-minute rounds is good. I'm so happy for Amanda Serrano. She's finally getting what she deserves, the pay, the celebration and everything. Like, she's a great fighter. Women right now fight 10 2-minute rounds. That's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Versus the men 12 3-minute rounds, which is 36 minutes. It's hard for anybody who trained for 20 minutes and fought 20 minutes to just jump and fight 36. Everybody can't do that. I think I applaud Amanda for what she's doing. And equal fight time is great. I just feel like there should be a way that we work our way up to that. Like, we fight 2 2 10-minute rounds, we should start doing 3 10-minute rounds to go 20 to 30.
Yeah.
And then once we get used to that, then go 12, 3 to 36. I feel like that'd be safer for everybody who has to get used to it and prepare mentally and physically for the 36 minutes rather than the 20. Because I spar 3-minute rounds, but fighting 3-minute rounds is it's just different, I think. But everybody can't do it. I know that I can, but everybody else can't, and I don't think it would be safe. But I applaud Amanda for doing it, and I'm sure other girls will want to jump on that bandwagon too.
By the way, on Monday on this program, we had Ryan Garcia in studio, and he said that he wants to fight Sean O'Malley in MMA. Sean O'Malley, the UFC bantamweight champion. How do you feel?
I saw that. He said 3 months.
Yeah.
Ryan, no. Unless Ryan has been working the ground game secretly for a year or 2, I would not recommend that. And I'm just saying because I want the boxers to win.
Yeah.
And listen, if the GOAT can't spend 6 months getting ready for Amanda Nunes and beat Amanda Nunes, Ryan Garcia can't spend 3 months to get ready for Sean O'Malley.
Okay, fair enough. No. By the way, next weekend, Francis going back against AJ, your fellow Olympic gold medalist. What do you think?
Ooh, what a good fight that's gonna be. I'm gonna be glued to my TV.
Can Francis do it? Can he do it?
I think AJ is a very tough test.
Okay.
And Francis showed he got some skills though. And I mean, if he builds off that momentum and off of what he's seen against Tyson Fury, then he can be very competitive. But it really depends on which AJ shows up. You know, we have a few different AJs who show up, and I'm waiting for the AJ who fought Klitschko to show back up. So we will see.
I can't wait. It's always great to talk to you, Claressa. I really enjoy your insights. Congrats on the big win. Looking forward to what's next.
Thank you.
Would love to see you against one of those 2 ladies. The Cyborg fight would obviously be huge in the combat world. So good luck in trying to get a big fight next. And thank you as always for the time.
You. For sure. Thank you.
There
Bye.
she is, Claressa Shields. Wanted to get Rick to ask her a question or two because he's your biggest fan, but we ran out of time, unfortunately. Let us not wait any longer before saying hello to our in-studio guest. What a great pleasure it is to be joined by the Super King of Bros, who is going to be competing here in New York, in particular in Queens at the Melrose Ballroom. Yes, it's Intimidation Games tomorrow, February 29th, Thursday. It's Matt Riddle against Big Bad Tito. Is he there? Is the Super King of Bros there? There he is. Oh, yes.
What up, dude?
How are you, man?
I'll lay my titles next to your titles,
That's
dude.
amazing. How are you, sir?
Bro, how are you, man?
Good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. I don't think you've ever been in studio.
Look at this place, dude. Right? Congrats.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for a while, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You've been on via Zoom. We've done interviews in person, but never in studio. This is great. You came in, I think, a day early to do this, right?
I did.
Was that an inconvenience?
I came in this morning.
Okay.
Well, a day early because I wrestled tomorrow. So it's...
Would you usually come in tomorrow if you're wrestling that night?
I'd probably come in later tonight.
Okay.
You know, I probably would have got in tonight, slept, got to the show early tomorrow, do my thing. And tomorrow we have a double header. So 2 shows one night.
Is it MLW 2 shows?
Well, they do the TV taping and then they do another show for YouTube as well. So we're hitting both sides.
Okay. I love the merch.
Yeah.
Is this new?
This is new. Rude dude.
Yes.
Been rocking it. It's a little persona I've been working out. You know, I'm the king of bros, the original bro.
Sure.
But, you know, sometimes when I'm a little feisty, I'm a rude dude.
I like it. And where can people get this?
Right now, you can get it when you see me in person.
Okay.
You know, I'm getting a website up, but I don't think I'd be able to handle all the orders.
Yeah.
And I kind of like doing things myself, having that hands-on touch.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
And this is, I do believe, the New Japan TV title that you just won, right? Look at that.
Right there. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Won this in Sapporo, Japan the other day.
Sick.
Against Tanahashi's son, the president of New Japan. So, yeah, pretty big deal.
Yes.
Pretty excited, and it was my first time in Japan as well. And
wow, that's your first time.
I know. I've been to China, I've been to Australia, I've been everywhere. Saudi, been everywhere else. Never been to Japan. It was definitely on the bucket list. And not only did I get to do it, I wrestled the president, and I won the television world championship, bro.
What is it like wrestling in Japan?
You know, it's different.
Okay.
It's different. It's not the same as wrestling in America.
Sure.
I feel kind of like MMA.
Yeah,
in
quiet,
Japan.
right?
Very
Theater.
quiet. And then when you give them something to clap about, they clap, they appreciate, and then they're back to wait to see what you do next, you know? Which is a little different than WWE, because a lot of times WWE, you're waiting for or even in America, you're waiting for the crowd, and you feel it, and then you go to the next thing. While in Japan, I feel like you gotta make them feel it. You know, they don't guide you, you guide them.
Interesting. And what's that one?
This is the Combat One World Championship. Won that the other day as well. So I've just been stacking titles. You know, I figured I'd just bring the collection.
I like it.
You know, I didn't bring all the other titles I've won in the past. You know, that'd be too much carry on. But this one I could squeeze on my back. So
how is life post WWE?
Life post WWE, you know, I feel like a lot of people would say it's like, oh man, sorry, you know, you got fired, you know. But for me, I feel like it was just right, kind of like, you know, getting fired from the UFC, then finding pro wrestling. I feel like getting fired from WWE happened at the right time. Not saying I won't go back or saying I will go back. You know, there's no discussion there. But at the same time, you know, I just had another kid, little Matthew. And with the WWE schedule, it's a lot, you know? You know, it's like, granted, you're not getting kicked as 100% in the face, but it's 4 days a week, nonstop traveling, and you're never home, you know? Like, you know, it's very rough. And then having another kid, it kind of, you know, it's not the best way, you know. Wish I left on better terms, per se, you know. But at the same time, I think it was the right move for everybody.
Why was it the right move?
Well, I think for me personally, just like I said, the schedule was getting to me.
Okay.
It's just never home, never had time for yourself, you know, especially when you have a girlfriend and she's pregnant with the new kid, and there's a lot of things you got to take care of, but you're never home to take care of them. And now my schedule is kind of busy still, but I kind of pick my moments. Like I can have a week off, you know, or maybe 2 weeks off, and kind of work overtime the other 2 weeks. While before I was kind of just working overtime, you know.
You say this with like 4 months sort of post WWE under your belt. Did you feel that way the day you were told that you were going to part ways, or is this a conclusion that you've come to over time?
Honestly, for me, and you know, probably just from my experience with the UFC, I thought I was going to get fired a long time ago, just because, I don't know, like when I got fired from the UFC, I was on a 4-fight win streak, and then I got fired. So after that, I'll be honest, I just think I'm going to get fired any day, you know, because you just never know. You know, some guys don't, some guys do. So that's how I always played it. And then after, you know, I went to rehab and stuff like that, and I got out, I didn't even think they were going to bring me back. It was Mania season. I wasn't on Mania, and a lot of times they do the budget cuts right after there. So I was like, think it's already chopping block time, and that didn't happen. Then TKO merger, and then plus my shenanigans, you know, just acting a fool half the time, didn't help things. And yeah, but at the same time, like I said, I think it was best for everybody. And honestly, the day I got fired, I remember and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's not like mean. It's not a dig to WWE, but it was probably one of the biggest reliefs I've had in a long time, because for the last 7 years, I was like under contract with them, working very hard. And before that, I was working really hard to get there. And just 7 years, I didn't take one vacation. Like, they give you vacation, but I always made sure I didn't miss work. And I didn't take a vacation in like 7 years.
Wow.
You know, I think my vacation was my time in rehab. If you added up all my weeks over the 7 years, probably the amount of time I spent there was my vacation time that I earned over the course of 7 years.
You mentioned shenanigans. Are you referring to the incident at JFK?
Well, just incident at JFK.
What happened there? Can you tell us? I would say this is September of last year, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, what happened there was we had a tour in India. It was just a one-day tour. We flew to India and then flew back from India right back and forth. I think we got there, we landed, we had a couple hours at the hotel, went to the venue, did the show, then flew back to the States. And on the way back, you know, when you fly, you feel some pressure and stuff like that. I thought it was just air pressure. I had a really bad ear infection. And then, of course, you had a couple cocktails on top of that. And then, you know, grab the mic, you know, I'm talking some crap, you know, flights were delayed. It was just how would you put it? It was just a perfect storm, you know? But at the same time, like, you know, I feel like a lot of people would beat themselves up, like, oh, but at the same time, I look at it, I'm just like, you know, I think it was a sign. Like, I was kind of overworking myself. Maybe I hopped back into things a little too quick and, you know, doing like a 4-day tour and then going to India for just like a day and back. It took its toll on me, you know? And I think that those kind of things took their toll on me, you know?
Before that stuff came out, you tweeted about an incident with a TSA officer.
I'm not gonna go too much into detail with that incident.
Is that the same trip?
That was the same trip, same incident. And I'll say I talked to Internal Affairs, I talked to the FBI. I'm not in trouble, I can assure you that. I'm not going to go into details with the situation because they asked me not to unless I want to press charges, and I didn't want to press charges. But that's how that situation was handled. But at the same time, if I wouldn't have had a couple of drinks, I wouldn't have put myself in that situation and I wouldn't have been there. So at the end of the day, I put myself in a situation I knew I could have possibly got in trouble. And I don't think that's the reason why I got fired, but I don't think it helps, you know, especially with the UFC merging. And I was going to probably be making, well, I was written in my contract, I was going to make $1 million this upcoming year, guaranteed, which was a lot more than I was making last year and a lot more than I was making the year before that. So I think there was multiple variables that played into my departure. Plus, like I said, I failed a couple drug tests. You know, the writing, for me at least, the writing was on the wall. I'm very good in the ring. I'm entertaining. But at the same time, especially with WWE and just like how they want to be perceived, I don't think I was a good fit, at least at the time, you know?
Is this your first time back in New York since then?
No, I've been back in New York since. I did a signing like first weekend of January here.
Okay, I've heard you mention in other interviews like, oh, the UFC and WWE coming together, and that wasn't maybe something that bode well for you. Do you really think that they had any type of influence on this decision?
I don't think it was. They did, I don't think it was a major decision. I think at the end of the day, it was a complete business move. And one thing I've noticed with all these guys, just like I failed a couple drug tests, got fired from the UFC. Other people have failed drug tests in the UFC and they still have jobs, right? So I think for the most part, it was a money thing. I think maybe my value went down a little bit, and for the amount they were still paying me or guaranteed to pay me, I honestly think that played a bigger factor in anything. I think money did, especially I wasn't the only one fired then. You know, a bunch of guys. Mustafa Ali was fired. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth was fired. You know, Mansoor, like a bunch of guys that are extremely talented were fired. Like Ali was scheduled for a title match in NXT the following week and got fired the week before. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't at the airport, you know, but at the same time, he also got fired. You know, so I think a lot of it was financial too. You know, because they're trying to flip it around, make a bunch of money because they might sell it in a couple of years themselves.
You mentioned rehab. It happened in late 2022, going to 2023, and I think people thought you'd be gone for 30 days, but then it came out that it was your second offense, right? And so your suspension was longer, correct?
Well, no. Well, I had 2 offenses, and
but one didn't come out. The original wasn't known.
What's that?
The original offense, was it not public? Did people not know?
No, they didn't make any of the offenses public. I think they just wanted to keep it on the hush-hush, which I completely understand, you know? And they punished me. Like, I got fined. And then,
can I ask what it was for?
What?
The offense.
Well, I failed. Well, you're allowed to smoke weed. I went to the strip club and did some cocaine a couple times, and I failed a drug test for that.
That was the first one?
That was the first one. That was for all of them. It was cocaine each time. But it was honestly just random nights. And the first drug test I took, the WWE tests you randomly say any week, but sometimes you get tested, say, at the end of 1 month and the beginning of another month. So there was 1 week where I failed bang, bang, didn't know I failed the second one, and by the time I found out I failed the first one, I got 2 right at once. So I think that's why they were a little more lenient with me, because like, hey, we tested you back to back, you failed both those tests.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And I go, hey guys, I want to show you, no more problems. Hey, you guys can test me for the next 10 weeks every week, whatever. And I did that and I was fine. Didn't fail 1 test, whatever, didn't do anything. But I thought I was in the clear, went out and partied a little bit, and they gave me a random test at my house, and I failed that. And shortly after that, they had me go to rehab.
Okay, so that's their decision? Like they could say to you, we want you to go?
Well, I would say with them, it's they can't make you do anything, right? But at the same time, it's like, you know,
please,
yeah, you go, or, you know, and it's like, okay, I'll go. And I went for the 30 days, and I left. And when I left, they make recommendations, and they wanted me to stay another 30 days. And I was like, I said I would do 30 days. I don't want to do another 30 days, you know. I miss Christmas. I miss New Year's with my family. It was a rough, I learned my lesson. Like, trust me, I don't go out and rage it up anymore like that, you know. And I learned my lesson, and they were like, no, like, we want you to do another 30 days. And I was like, well, I want to test, get my black belt, because, you know, Daniel Gracie was coming in to do belt promotion and stuff, so I wanted to get my black belt. I've been waiting like 10 years for that. And I had some money because RK Bro was very successful, and I cleared my bucket. So I made enough money where I could finally like buy a house. So I bought a house, and my aunt had cancer, so I went up to see her. She's good now, Aunt Mel. Killing it, you know? But I didn't get to see them during the holidays, so I was like, hey, let me go do these couple things while I leave. And they were like, okay. And I did those, and then I went back for another 30 days.
Oh, my.
And then I got out, and then I was just waiting. And this is like a month before WrestleMania. And they're like, oh, we don't have anything for you. Maybe Raw after Mania. And I'm like, dude, they're going to fire me, you know?
Is that devastating when you hear that?
What's that?
When you hear that they don't have anything for you for the biggest show?
Yeah, but at the same time, like at this point, I was like, man, I just hope they don't fire me, you know? And yeah, I mean, it's always devastating. The goal in wrestling is like to, you know, win these championships, to be in the main event, to not be the, you know, not that it's bad to open a show, but if your main event of WrestleMania is, if you're Roman Reigns, you know, or if you're, you know, the Rainmaker Okada, if you're in that spotlight all the time, you know, it elevates you, you know, and that's why we work as hard as we do. We try to get to that spot, you know, and at the end of the day, like, you know, I remember my goal in my wrestling career was to retire Brock Lesnar. And now, did I ever really think I was going to retire Brock Lesnar? Probably not. But at the end of the day, me trying to get to the point to do that, I was going to accomplish a lot of things, and I have so far, and hopefully more.
By the way, what is rehab like? Like, is it extremely boring?
Dude, it's horrible.
Where are you, by the way? What state?
I was in Tampa.
Okay.
It was, I shouldn't say horrible.
They put you in the strip club capital of the world? I mean, it seems like a bit of a...
Dude, anytime we left, it would be strip club, liquor store, like, yeah, and I'm just like, wow, this place, it's a real trigger for you guys, you know? Honestly, rehab, it was brutal to an extent, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. You know, there's a lot of people in there, and, you know, we're all going through something. It's like, almost kind of like, if you're in the Army and you're, you know, you got a mean drill sergeant, and you're like, oh man, he's the worst. You know, you guys kind of, you know, group up and you make friends. Yeah, you bond, and you all have a similar, you know, vice or something like that. Even if it's something different, you can relate, like you're struggling with something, or usually if you're using drugs, something's not going right in life. Like for me, I was working pretty hard, but I was also went through a divorce, and with my work schedule, I really don't get to see my kids, and I don't get to go up and visit them as much, and this, that, and I feel like I just replaced family with like partying on the side, because it's really the only option I had, or at least that's the only option I thought I had at the time.
Were you the only famous person? Meaning, like,
I mean,
is it? I don't want you to name names,
think
but like, are you humble to the point where like you're wrestling in front of 50, 60,000 people, and now here you are in front of
Yeah,
20.
I mean, I'll say this: I was definitely the coolest guy in rehab for sure.
The coolest
I don't know how cool that is.
Yeah.
I was definitely the coolest guy in rehab, or at least I thought I was, or they thought I was. I don't know. For me, it was I think I connect with people as well as I do in pro wrestling, even in MMA, is because I'm real and I'm honest and I am very humble, you know, and I'm not trying to like brag myself up. But at the same time, I was there. I didn't treat anybody less than anyone else. And that's just how it is. I just try to keep it fair, you know? And of course, like I said, people are there for different reasons. Some of us are there with our jobs. Some of us are there because we'll go to jail for not going here, vice versa. But at the end of the day, we're all like I said, dealing with something. Some people it was childhood trauma. Some people was, you know, relationships. A lot of it is like divorces and stuff. People sets them over the edge. You know, they don't have that responsibility or they're not allowed to. And you end up drinking or doing something you probably shouldn't be doing. You know?
So now that you're independent, right? You can do whatever you want. You're not subjected to these drug tests. How do you make sure that you don't go in the complete opposite direction?
I think it's just the lifestyle choice. I don't want to like feel that way because the thing is also in rehab, you go over the cons, you know, and then you actually look at the pros and realize how cool were the pros. And it's like with cocaine, the pros were like stay up really late and feel like dog shit the next day. And honestly, it wasn't like at the end of the day, was it fun in the moment? Yeah, of course. That's what it does. It makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, it wasn't fun. I'd feel like crap the next day. I'd be disappointed in myself and everything else. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't really need that. You know, also I don't make as much money. So I can't, I don't have liquid assets. But and the big thing is just I want to look in the mirror and be happy with me. And I felt like even though I was like killing it wrestling and I was in the biggest company per se, making a lot of money for them, it still felt like, I don't know, I wasn't as happy as I could have been. I was happy, but like, and a lot of that was, like I said, the ex-wife, the divorce, and dealing with all that stuff because it was brutal, you know, especially, it's one thing when you deal with that, it's another thing when you deal with that, but you don't have time to deal with that, and like you're traveling and flying and doing this and doing that, and is WWE also, and wrestling period, isn't just wrestling. If it was just me showing up to a building and wrestling a couple times a week, easy, but it's the traveling, it's the interviews, it's the promoting, you know, it's being all that, working out, being tan, being fit, you know, it's everything, you know, and it's a lot, you know.
Do you think the wrestling lifestyle and schedule affected your marriage?
Yes.
If you were an MMA fighter who was fighting 3 times a year max and you're just training every day, do you think that this wouldn't have happened?
Well, I don't think it would have happened the way it happened, but at the end of the day, I don't think me and my ex were definitely really made for each other. And at first, like when we were younger, I think we met 23.
Okay.
Pretty young, fresh out of college, fresh in the UFC, you know, but 10 years later, you know, and I think that's just people. I think people change, and sometimes people change together. Sometimes people change apart. And I feel like we just changed completely 2 different directions. Like I feel like I went from more intense when I was in the UFC, cutting weight, wrestler in college. And even though I was kind of laid back, compared to how laid back I am now and flexible and loose I am now compared to how I was then, well, I feel like she still went that direction. She's definitely way more strict than me and, you know, more assertive than I am, you know? Like I said, like I can't get my kids to do their homework, you know? Like, nothing, like I take care of stuff, but like to get somebody to do something, it's like, It's not really my cup of tea.
What was it like going through that and traveling and being on TV and having to, and your character, it's like if someone's going through that and they go to work and they sit in a cubicle.
And you got to smile and be super happy.
Yeah.
That's what the boss wants.
Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal because I just had to smile and just.
What time frame was this? Like what, just trying to like line it up with what we were seeing.
The divorce went on for a while.
Oh, okay.
It was like probably like shortly after me and Randy started teaming up, that's when it happened.
So during maybe the greatest run of your career, you're going through this.
Basically, I got offered a new contract for a lot more money. I went from like making like $250,000 a year to making guaranteed half, and then the next year $750,000, then the following year $1 million. And it was like 750 mil. And the second I got that contract, I don't think it was about a month or two later, and I came home and she's like, I want a divorce, this, that. I want you out of the house. And literally I got my stuff, said sorry to the kids. And a week later, my kids hit me up and were like, why is Zach's Pee Wee football coach living here? And it was my son's Coach Rob. Nice guy, though. Nice guy. I know. See, pretty flexible. UFC man probably would have went a little nutty. But this guy, I'm like, hey, Coach Rob, nice guy. He's a teacher. He's nice to my kids. He lives there. My ex-wife and him are together now. But that was like literally a week after. So that probably was going on for a minute. But I was traveling and always gone. And,
Do you have regrets?
No, you can't. I don't. No, I can't. I feel like, I guess anybody could sit back and be like, man, if I would have just done that, well, I could have done that with the UFC. Man, if I just didn't smoke pot that day, I probably would have passed that last drug test, And with WWE, it's like, what could I say? Because I feel like there's a lot of things. Hey, if I didn't date this girl, I wouldn't have to deal with that. Or if I didn't, party that one night with this, porn star, I wouldn't have failed that drug test. But damn it. And I don't have any regrets because I made those decisions. I live with the consequences or the fun or the not fun, and you learn and live from it. That's that's all I can do.
Sure.
It's
just amazing because like now knowing you were going through the best, like you were on fire, right? I mean, you're like Allegiant Stadium, SummerSlam, all that stuff.
And like in the highest of highs.
Yes.
For sure, because there's like people can say whatever. There's no higher high than like winning, especially in front of a crowd, having 50,000, 60,000 people screaming, chanting your name, you start banging on the mat, they start banging on the mat, And
then you go backstage and real life
just
kicks
hope
in.
your cell phone's not littered with abusive messages and stuff like that. Yeah.
I remember also, it's crazy because I remember when you first came into WWE, I think you were supposed to debut that night, right? And then you were accused.
Sure was.
That eventually has been dropped. That got dropped in 2021. There are other women who have said some things about you. Why is it a case of putting yourself in the wrong spots?
Like I said, I put myself in wrong situations. I shouldn't even say wrong situations. I put myself in situations with the wrong people a lot of the time. Even those other situations, granted, at the end of the day, I make the decision to either hook up with somebody or party or whatever. But I could also not go to the strip club, right? Avoid a lot of that. Maybe not date certain people, because maybe the chick that works at Sunglass Hut with like 2 kids, maybe you just think you're having a good time. Maybe this chick thinks you're the sugar daddy and is going to try to lock you down. And when you're just like, oh, dude, I thought we were just having fun. Now here comes the shit storm, And there's nothing you can really do, especially, and when I was younger, I never thought of it like this. I was like, oh, dude, hey, if you get successful, be careful. People try to take you down. You always hear this coming up. Yeah. And you're like, who the hell would do that? Like, I'm a nice guy, this, that, and the other thing. And, dude, and think about it. Before I got to WWE, before I started making money, none of this happened. None of this stuff was a thing. The second I started making money, and it's clear and evident, I'm on TV every week, floodgates open.
Do you feel like you have been sort of branded unfairly or labeled unfairly as
Well, I've been labeled unfairly. If it depends on how you label me, because there's certain labels I'm definitely not, but at the same time, it's like we kind of live in a time where people don't wait for facts, it's kind of like, I don't know how you say it. It's like people just look for that like clip of a headline. Kind of like when I fought in the UFC and I got interviewed on a radio show and my kids are banging on my door and and my wife was supposed to be watching them and then people are like, "What's that noise?" And I go, "Oh, my kids are banging on the door." I go, "This is why I smoke pot so I don't beat my wife and kids." Completely sarcastic. The whole podcast laughed about it. Next day, New York Times writes, "UFC fighter smokes weed so he doesn't beat wife and kid." Oh my God. The other day I made a comment about, I'm not going to say it's not true or is true. I said Vince McMahon's a maniac. Now, the whole saying was, hey, did you see what Vince used to do on TV? He's dropped the N-bomb on TV and done other things that are extremely questionable, right? That's maniac behavior. I didn't say anything in his personal life. I don't know him in his personal life. I just know what he did on TV, and sometimes those lines blur a little bit, So, but everything is taken out of context and they'll take one snippet or one thing, and if they can get something to bite, especially these dirt sheets, if the guy's selling ad space and they can write an article that gets 100,000 clicks, that's money. And they know with me, it's not too hard to do that. You can write something controversial and people will click on it.
And so you just had a kid. Congratulations.
I did. Thank you.
Are you married?
Not officially married. I don't know if I'm gonna officially get married. Might buy the ring. I love Misha, and we might do a ceremony. But I don't know if I can legally, after dealing with the divorce I already did and all the paperwork and everything that goes in with legal binding marriage. I do love, I'm with my girlfriend Misha. I love her to death. I would do anything for her. We have a beautiful little baby.
How did you guys meet?
She slid, just like most of these girls, she slid into my DMs.
Oh my.
Because I am not the aggressor.
Oh my God.
These girls come to me.
So she slid in and just said, "Hey, what's up?" And then
well, one of the exes was making up some stories saying how I wanted to be a porn star, which isn't true. If I wanted to be a porn star, I could go do it. I could do it.
Yes,
give her a dude, Might as well tease it though.
Yeah.
But so she hit me up because she's read the article or somebody showed it to her and he goes, "Hey, if you're ever interested, I produce and direct." And I was like, "Oh, I'm flattered, but that was an ex. I'm not doing that, whatever." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, if you change your mind." I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Oh, well, if you ever want to come to a wrestling show, let me know if if we're in the area." And I was in California. She lives in Reno, and she made the trip, and that was it.
Do you like starting over with your kids are a little bit older and now you have a newborn? That's
Bro, I was almost done.
Yeah. You rewound the tape. You went all the way to the beginning.
I had, my girls are going to be 14. I got twin girls that are going to be 14 this summer, and I have a son who just turned 11. Yeah. And now I have a son who's not even one yet, and I'm like, oh man. Starting over, it is different. But at the same time, I don't know, the relationship I have with my kids, my kids love me, I love my kids, and I always take care of things. I'm dad. So, I don't know, I feel like the mom's there most of the time, especially with my schedule even now. I'm still not around as much as I'd like to be, But it's definitely different. I'm older. I have more money this time. When I was in the UFC the first time, having twins with $0 and living fight to fight, that was brutal. So now I have a home, I have a couple cars, modest, I got car seats.
Nice.
I can drive everybody around, so I feel like I'm definitely way more prepared this time around, and I'm happy about that because the first time was quite the struggle, which also puts stress. I talk about how me and my ex grew apart. Part of it is having 3 kids when you get fired from the UFC and everything else, and there's a lot of blames in this, and it's rough. You know, that's why like I don't want to put any shame or hate on my ex because I think she's just doing the best she could, just like I was doing the best I could at the time. You know.
Well, we never got to see the conclusion of the RK Bro story, right?
No, we have not seen the conclusion.
Oh, we have not. So you say that in present tense.
Well, I look at it like
you never know, right?
You never
Punk
know.
came back.
You know, Punk came back. Other people have come back, and I also say this: I'll never say a bad thing about WWE. I made a post the other day being very happy about this championship, and I wrote,
grass
"Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side," and I said that not as a dig, but where I was with the company in WWE, granted, my bank account was flush. They were paying me very well. But creatively, I felt like I was kind of plateauing. I felt like making money for them, I was plateauing. And I just, you know, and you see it with a lot of guys, you know, like they get to a certain point, and I was still happy, like I said, but I still felt like I had more to give and I wasn't able to give. It wasn't needed from me. It wasn't asked from me, and I was still benefiting from it financially really well, you know? But to be wrestling the president of the company and come in and get to go somewhere like Japan where I've never been, and I just went to Sapporo, probably next time I'll be in Tokyo and everywhere else, you know? So it's like, I don't know. It's like for me, that was a big deal. I was big into Pride growing up, and I always wanted to perform and compete in Japan. So getting to do that for me, that was the grass greener on the other side sometimes. You know?
Could I ask like what the plan was? How was the story? There was always a thought that he was going to turn on you, right?
Oh, with Randy?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple ideas. I would say the first one that was pitched was eventually Randy turns on you, you know, you guys have a feud, whatever. That was originally what was supposed to happen when we first started teaming. There you go, hey, we'll have Riddle beat you, like a quick one, and then we'll have you team up, and then Randy will turn on you after you guys lose a match, RKO you, punt you or whatever, set up for a match at Backlash, because it was WrestleMania Backlash. And we wrestled, we tagged, and we just hit it off, and the crowd was really behind us. And for some reason, whenever I join random tag teams, that seems to be a thing. I don't know if it's my personality or my teammates, but me and Pete Dunne did it, me and Randy did it. But then once we started teaming up, we just kept it going. But the original plan was for him to turn on me. But then when we got to the end of it, and this was my suggestion, and talking to everybody in the office, and even Randy, and Randy agreed, was the smarter idea would be probably if I turned on him. Because Randy being a legend that he is, and if me just being a babyface, even though if Randy turned on me, he's a bad guy thing, he's a legend. He's Randy. He's done more pay-per-views, more Raws, more this. He's done more than like everybody. Everybody, like, even if you boo him, you like love to boo him, right? So I'm like, guys, like me trying to get like sympathy when Randy's beating me up isn't gonna work. They're just gonna cheer Randy beating me up. Now, if I attack Randy when you guys aren't expecting it, and I hurt Randy, and I take him away, the crowd's gonna be really mad at me, and I'm gonna get like nuclear heat. And we have good chemistry, and the story will play out as it shall. And not win or lose. I had no idea with that. But those were the two ideas. Granted, those are like the only two options.
Sure. I never even considered the other idea, which I like way better.
You know?
Because it was
See, that was
unexpected.
something I would pitch, but I wouldn't pitch directly to Bossman. I would pitch to like producers and writers, and then eventually it'd come
Who's Bossman, by the way? Is that Triple H or Vince?
Well, back then it was Vince and Triple H, but Vince was the head honcho then. And then at like the end of my stint, Triple H was head honcho.
Seeing Randy back now, he looks in tremendous
He
shape.
looks amazing.
Do you hit him up? Do you talk to him?
I do. I stay
you guys
in
are still
touch with him.
Okay.
You know, he messages me. I message him. We try to get on the phone, but if you know me and if you know Randy, that's it's hard to get me here.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But because I think initially he was like a little bit lukewarm towards you, right?
Yeah, very.
Okay,
very. Didn't like me at all.
At all.
Not at all. Yeah, even I remember even when I was in NXT, like he would make comments, and then I had when I won the tag titles with Pete, he was like, "I still don't like you, but I get it. And
He said that to you?
He said that via Twitter.
Wow.
And then I finally see him in person. And when I see him in person, I'm stoked to see him. I'm like, oh, dude, it's Randy. But he seemed busy. You know, he's talking to some of the boys. So I'm like, you know, I walk by and I give him a nod. And he, I guess there was an A&E thing we did, and he talks about it, how I give him the nod. And he was like, what a piece of shit, basically. Like, why didn't he come up and shake my hand? And like, you know, he's in wrestling, and you do the thing. I'm not hard up. If you don't shake my hand, it's okay. Yeah. But a lot of the guys that have been doing this for quite a while and had parents, like, he's generational, you know? So it's like, they're big on that respect and the little things, you know? So, yeah, he didn't like me when we first met, but I have a tendency to grow on people, you know?
And who were, like, your guys backstage or on the road? Who did you really kind of
I was
with?
big friends with the Judgment Day, you know? All of them.
All
you
of
know,
them?
Big friend of Austin Theory. I had my road dogs, people I'd ride with, travel with, but I would say I was friendly with, like, every single person. You know, even the people that, like, hate me, you know, or I hate them, we were all friendly, you know? The only times we weren't friendly is, like, when my ex made comments about their girlfriends or whatever, and whatever. But when it came to me and everybody else, like, I think that's one misconception. I feel like people think a lot of people hate me in wrestling, but in fact, I go into every locker room, everybody likes me, or at least they're nice to my face, at least. Maybe it's the UFC background.
Every interview you do, people ask you about Goldberg, they ask you about Brock, so I feel like those are so pronounced that you get this. But overall, you're saying you had a good relationship with everyone. Even you and Seth, how did it end up? That was...
me and Seth, I would say this, like, Seth, I don't think we would be friends. Like, I don't think we'd go out for drinks or dinner or anything. But at the same time, when it comes to, like, sharing a locker room or being on a bus or a plane or whatever, we got along very well. And when we put matches together, Seth's extremely talented, I'm talented, and we could put matches together very well. You know?
The build-up to Extreme Rules... That was a playoff of DC and Jones,
sure
right?
Was. We took it right out of the playbook.
Was that your idea as the MMA guy?
I don't know if it was my idea or Seth's idea. It might have been Seth's.
It was fantastic.
I remember, or maybe it was mine, but somebody showed it to me first and was like, hey, what would you think? Because we're doing this. And I was like, oh, this is perfect, you know?
Did you feel comfortable bringing your family into it?
Well, you know, for me, I think the thing with that was, people talk about it, and with pro wrestling, what we do in pro wrestling is, even if you're not a fan or you are, I try to blur those lines. So if I'm in the ring, I try to hit you but not kill you, you know? And then when it comes to promos, I want to say something that doesn't offend you really, because I don't want to offend you in real life, but I want them to think I offended you and you want to kill me, or vice versa, and we're just at each other's necks. And for me, people knew me and Seth had some kind of real beef, which wasn't real beef, you know? It was like my ex talking trash, and I went up to Seth and apologized for her saying that and wished him and his beautiful family the best of luck and enjoyed his, because he had a couple weeks off. I go enjoy your time with your family, you know? But what were we talking about?
The DC Jones recreation,
so
bringing your family involved.
The family into, for me, I felt like to blur the lines and get them very invested, that was the best way. And when we were talking promo stuff, there was no zingers. Like, hey, like, what can I say? I could say something about you and Becky or this or that, but feels kind of stretched. And I go, you know what you could say? And it's like, why don't you call me like a deadbeat dad and the loser who abandoned his family?
Damn.
And it's like, oh, are you sure? And Triple H is like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you know, like, because I know, like, because if I didn't suggest that and you said that, I'd kill you, right?
Right.
So, plus it's further from the truth.
Right.
But perception, you say that, you're going to infuriate me, I'm going to hurt you, you know? And everybody at home, doesn't matter if it's a kid that has parents that are divorced, or a divorced dad or a divorced mom, they hear something like that, everybody's like, oh no, like, he crossed the line. But we talked about it, and at the same time, it's real. It's still real to me, but at the same time, like, how do I get emotion? How do I get mad at this guy? How do I get that? And sometimes in wrestling, just like when we hit each other, sometimes it's good to hit somebody for real, because that's how you look when I hit you. Sometimes they don't look good when you know? And same thing with a promo. Like, if I say something that's really not offensive and I act offended, that's one thing. But if you say something really offensive and I want to, like, rip your head off, you can see the difference. It's real. So that was my take on it. And Seth was with Cody Rhodes before that, who tore his pec. I was with Randy before that, who hurt his back. So we were looking for a way to throw us together and not just force it. And me and Seth wanted to get mileage out of it. So we got SummerSlam, we got Clash at the Castle, and we got Extreme Rules.
How did you think DC did as special guest referee?
It's not. I'll start it off with this. No disrespect, DC, and it's a tough job.
Yeah, he just got thrown in there, right?
It's a tough job, and you control a lot of things as the referee, especially in this match, because he had to do a standing 10 count or like a, you know. But in fighting, 1, 2, 3, right? It's quick. Pro wrestling, take your time. Like. 1, you know, 2.
Yes.
DC was counting very fast. Fast counter.
Okay.
For pro wrestling, for MMA, I think he did great. For boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, knocked it out of the park. For pro wrestling, main event pro wrestling match, he counted a little fast.
Okay.
But I remember like Seth and me being like, slow down, you know. But he was awesome, dude. He was a great addition to that match.
That was like a lifelong dream for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but I did the voiceover for the package.
Yeah.
For the pre-match. That was insane for me too.
It was
They asked me to do it, and I was like, I don't know if I. And then I did it, and then I remember watching it, because I grew up a huge wrestling fan as well, and I was like, and they make my voice sound a little bit better and a little bit deeper, and I was like, holy shit, I got the WWE. Like no one does pre-match packages like them.
You got the machine behind you, dude.
I got the machine. It was a good feeling. I have to admit, it was a pretty damn cool feeling, and especially your connection to MMA and DC being involved, and I like Seth. It was wild. DC, maybe like the pants, like he looked a little bit like, you know, like he.
What are you trying to say here?
Well, you know, he looked like a Foot Locker employee.
He did look like a Foot Locker employee, but that's just the outfit.
Sure, yeah, no, of course.
They're referees there.
Sure.
You know?
What is the difference between backstage when Triple H is the head, the lead, and when Vince is the lead?
With Triple H in control, a lot more control in the sense of. Things are organized. Things usually, at least when I was there before I left, they were scheduled for this unless something catastrophic happened or somebody got injured or something's not going to work out. That's what's happening the next day. They write it, it's actually happening. With Vince, and I don't know, I feel like he did it on purpose because like, I don't know the method, but like there would be a show, you'd get a script on like Sunday, and by Monday, nobody knew what they were doing. The show was being completely rewritten and stuff like that. Now, like I said, I haven't been there in a while. Maybe that's happening again sometimes, because things do happen. But with Vince around, it was like that probably every week, just a little chaotic. But I almost felt like he did that on purpose, because I feel like when people know exactly what's going to happen and you're doing live TV and you're trying to get passion and like that energy, but you kind of get it set in a pattern because you know what's happening, this is happening, and you get used to it. Well, I feel like if you don't know what's going to happen and it's changing all the time, what do I say? What do I say? You're thinking, like you're firing off at, like all your cylinders are going. Well, like you kind of get in a comfort zone if things are too planned.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even with a wrestling match, like if you plan everything out and you'll see it, like you'll see guys like, and it looks kind of like too choreographed.
Yeah.
And then when you watch a match where like, they probably called it, but it might be a little finicky. Those are usually the better matches because it's not perfectly smooth. Things look rougher and tougher, and then they still execute them well.
Okay.
You know?
I'm sure you've seen the accusations brought upon Vince.
I've seen,
I've read.
heard.
Yeah. What was your reaction, and what is your reaction to what you've seen and read?
Well, some of the things I've read are pretty disturbing, you know, if true, you know, And but at the same time, like I've read the texts, which can be considered kind of disturbing in a way. But the hard part for me with all this is like, I don't know. It's a finicky area. It just seems like he ends up in these situations. There's always large sums of money involved, and it's just, I don't know. I have no idea. Like I said, I know my situation and how it was. So like for me, I feel like that's how I feel about situations, just because that was my experience, like being falsely accused of something. You're just like, you know, and so like, I don't know, maybe he's falsely accused. But those texts, there's a good amount of texts. It's like pretty big trial type situation, a lot of money involved. NDAs were issued and signed at one point. Oh no, there's a lot of red flags for sure. I don't think it was great. I think there's a lot of red flags in professional wrestling, period. You know, I think there's a lot of red flags in Hollywood, period. And it's not a knock on Hollywood or professional wrestling. I just think when you run billion-dollar industries that are basically fueled by athletes or good-looking people or actors or entertainers, and how do you choose said entertainers, and et cetera. There's a lot of room for mess, you know? And for me, like, I know like with WWE, like my situation, sending me to rehab, doing it, they did, and I won't say anything bad, they did the best they could and what they thought was best for me. You know, I honestly think that. I think they thought putting me in rehab throughout the holidays for the remainder of that year, they thought that was the best thing for me. You know, I disagree. I think maybe the first month, take the holidays, but like to have me in there another 30 days was a little rough. I think you overdid it, but hey, I get why you did it. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your investment, and you're looking out for me at the end of the day. I think 9 times out of 10, WWE did the right thing, but there's still going to be a couple bad apples, you know, and I don't know what to say, but just like I said, in any entertainment, it's a weird line. Like, how do you, like, interviewing people for the UFC, how you got to where you were when we first met, when I was, like, it's a weird game. And then to get kicked out, then come back in, now be where you are, it's...
Yeah.
Right?
It's wild.
Entertainment's a weird world to play, and it's like a lot of politics and navigation, and I don't know. So, but like I feel like WWE does the best they can. I feel like MLW does the best it can. And I feel like New Japan does the best they can. And that's why I like, you know, try to align myself with, you know, these companies.
Was this something that, like, did you ever hear about this relationship, or were there ever talks of it, whispers, rumors about him doing stuff like this? Even some of the other accusations, like did the boys in the back know about this?
I've never heard anything about Vince. I've seen certain people, I'm not going to mention names, but I've seen certain people make passes at certain female talent by saying, come to my locker room, or et cetera, kind of like that creepy kind of thing. And at least the woman I talked to didn't go and was above that. She's a stallion and was like, I'm not doing that. But like, here's my number, come to my locker room. Now, and that's where it ended, but it could have escalated.
Sure.
And if that person was in fear of their job or wasn't as over as they are, they probably would have went there because they didn't, you know, what am I supposed to do? Damn, I probably would have went there. You know, like I just need the job.
You're one of the few people that knows about the relationship of, you know, working with UFC and WWE.
Yeah.
Do you think this is good? Like, you can make the case that, you know, 2 years ago, Vince was accused. He found his way back, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he could find his way back anymore, given the state of the company and who runs it now, and that it's public. I feel like, you know, TKO is public entity.
Yeah.
I feel like this is it. This is the end. If all this is true, this is the end.
If it's true, then yeah. If it's true, then yeah, it's over. But I'll say this, even if it's not true, and I think this is the one thing that kind of stinks, and it doesn't, because if it is true, good, but it's like, even if it's not true, I don't think he's coming back. You know, like, even if the woman was like, never happened, he didn't do anything, it was all a sham, No, I think the damage is done. That's why the NDAs were signed in the first place, because the amount of damage it could do, you know? And I'll be honest, I've never, and maybe Grant, people talk crap on me all the time, but I've never had anybody sign an NDA because I've never done anything to warrant an NDA or to think an NDA. I don't know, maybe I should have had it, but like I've never, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I like I said, I don't know his private situation. I personally don't see him coming back. But I don't see him coming back.
Okay.
It's, I think in 2024, Vince isn't coming back.
We're starting to see blurring of lines. Like we saw Michael Chandler, I don't know if you saw this on Raw, cutting a promo on Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
We're seeing WWE guys at UFC. Do you think this is good? I like it as a fan of both, but I see some fans telling me like, no, I don't want these two entities to touch each other. And in particular, the UFC guys to, cut promos about real fights on Raw or SmackDown. How do you feel? Do you understand where they're coming from?
I think honestly it's good business for everybody. It's kind of like, I get it, they're two different things. They cohabitate, Honestly, I feel like pro wrestling, you watch it when you're younger, you grow out of it, get into MMA, and then you fall back in love with pro wrestling. It kind of has that shelf life. And I just feel like it's great for everybody. And a lot of people don't understand, a lot of pro athletes, football, basketball, baseball, MMA fight, love pro wrestling. They love the fun, they love the spectacle, the fireworks, the showmanship, the titles, So I feel like it's awesome. I think it's great. And you're still going to have those fans. Just like when Logan Paul comes out and wrestles, people boo him. But it's like, dude, the guy draws. If he didn't draw, he wouldn't be there. They wouldn't just give him that spot, So there's a reason why co-promoting, why you're going to have Bad Bunny come out and hit me with a Canadian destroyer. It's because the guy's the highest selling Latin pop star in the world, You might not know him here in New York City. Somebody does though.
No, man,
sure.
he's
he's
were you blown away by him? Were you blown away by him? I was blown away.
What do you mean?
Meaning how good he was. I'm sure you guys helped him along the way, but
well, I'm pretty good friends with his first tag partner, Damian Priest. I did Mania together. Then they had the street fight in Puerto Rico. So I felt like I had tabs on him. I knew how good he was excelling. So, but I think for the amount of time, and he put the work in. He showed up and put the work in. And at the end of the day, I try to tell people, if you put the work in, if you put the time in, it's usually you usually succeed. So Bad Bunny came in, worked multiple times a week on top of his busy schedule, fly in, fly out, whatever. And it showed, And was he the best wrestler on the show? No. But at the same time, for somebody who's only been training a couple months to do what he did at the level he did it, at the show he did it on, it's crazy.
Are you impressed with Logan?
Very. Very. I'm impressed with both the Paul brothers. Jake's knocking people out boxing. Logan did beat Dylan Dennis.
He did. Yes, he did.
And
it's a huge win.
Yeah, huge win. I actually like Dylan. I like all of them.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I like Logan in pro wrestling. I think, but that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't mind seeing Dylan Dennis on a pro wrestling show card just running his mouth, talking trash, because people want to see him get punched in the face, right? Or some people want to see him break somebody's arm, And I feel like there's a lot of, and I think a lot of times, especially I feel like if MMA guys are getting worked up about it, they shouldn't. Because one of the main reasons I pro wrestle is there's money in pro wrestling.
Right.
I can work 3 or 4 times a week and get paid 4 times a week. MMA, you're gonna get paid once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year when you fight, And trust me, it takes its toll. It's hard. Fighting's brutal, and the pay scale is even more brutal. Well, pro wrestling this weekend, I'm working 4 times.
Wow.
My rates, I'm not going to give my rate out, taxes and stuff. Sure. But but I do well,
Do you watch the current product? Do you keep tabs on WWE, or now that you're out?
I keep tabs on WWE. I see what's going on.
You like the Cody Rock thing? What would you do if you had the pencil?
If I had the pencil, I would make Cody. I'd make Cody wait at least another year or 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
Why?
Why?
Because if Cody wins the title, the story's over. Now what?
Oh my gosh.
It's over.
So you would do Rock Roman?
I would do Rock Roman. I would even, but this is what I would do this year, and hopefully they do it. What I would do this year is I'd have Rock Roman, then Cody versus Seth. Right, this is what I would do. Then I'd have Cody beat Seth. But then I'd have Damian Priest cash in on Cody and take it right
and everybody
back.
gets mad.
So now, but in that sense, you keep the story going.
Yeah.
Right? And let's be honest, people want to see Cody versus Rock or Roman. Anyways, and then you still got Damian Priest and Cody to fight until you want to bring back Cody back to Rock and Roman.
So you're really playing with their emotions.
Well, you have to. And the thing is, I know the fans just want to see it, but that's the point. And if you give it to them, it's over.
That's fair.
It's over. And the thing is, if I thought Cody would become an even bigger star winning the title and just holding it, I'd say yeah. But Cody, like, especially when you're a baby face like Cody, it's all in the chase. So the second you have nothing to chase, it's over.
Since leaving WWE, have you talked to AEW?
Have I talked to AEW? I talked to some people that worked at AEW. I had a buddy that actually got fired, and I talked to him, but he got fired. I was like, But no, I haven't reached out to AEW. All the other promotions have hit me up and reached out. But I think another thing, though, and this is just me, not AEW. I don't know their thoughts on me. But with AEW, for me personally, I didn't want to go right back to live TV wrestling. And I know with AEW, because just like WWE, there's similarities. You're wrestling on live TV, you got segments, you got your commercial breaks. Some people run heavy, some people run light. You got to make up time, you got to shorten time here. There's a lot of variables that go into TV wrestling that just aren't that fun compared to pay-per-view wrestling or internet wrestling. You know, I can still be streaming.
Right.
But like even with WWE going to Netflix, I don't think it's going to be commercial free. So they actually like get to like rip, you know? So, but like for me, like I just wanted to like say MLW, we record it, it's on TV, you know, but I just get to go, you know? New Japan pay-per-view style, I just go. So I don't have to worry about, hey, get to your dive before commercial or anything. I didn't want that stress on top of, you know,
Are you a fan of AEW?
I am.
Okay.
Dude, huge fan. I think it's great. You got Swerve. I used to wrestle with him. You got the Bucks. You got, they just picked up Will Ospreay from New Japan. You know, I think they're going to take Okada too. I believe they got him. MJF, I've wrestled him before back in the day before I even got to the E, but he's great on the mic, great promo. And, dude, their roster's sick.
And TNA enjoying a resurgence. I know Ali just signed there.
Good. They got a ton of guys.
Yeah.
Ton of guys.
You've talked to them. But for now, I think you're enjoying you're enjoying the indie life?
I'm enjoying the indie life. And right now, I'm really focusing more so on the indies, but the two companies I'm focusing on are MLW. I don't have the world title there yet. In New Japan.
And do they have a working relationship?
They have a working relationship, but New Japan's pretty friendly with most companies. So if you work with them, you can usually work with everybody else, you know, except for like, well, no, you can probably work with anybody. They're pretty good.
CMLL too?
Yeah, CMLL, MLW, New Japan.
Okay.
Those are the goals. I haven't worked for CMLL yet. I was actually just down in Tijuana. I wrestled in Mexico. Great. Huge crowd, like 7,000 people going nuts, hopping the barricade after I won. It was sick. But there's another company down, that was for the crash, but there's another company, CMLL, that I haven't worked for yet, and hopefully I get to work for soon.
Okay.
You know?
Do you, is it hard going from the 60,000 seats? I know you started coming up, you know, on the indies, and I'm not trying to say MLW or NJPW are indies, but like some of the other shows that you're doing, there's probably less people.
Oh, dude.
Is that humbling? Is that tough for you?
Well, I think, like you said, I did it already,
you went
so
from
I'm kind of
UFC
used to it. And like, and to be fair, even in WWE, you do some house shows that are a little light, you know, in random towns. So I'm used to that. But this is the big difference between WWE or, you know, AEW is close, but the Indies has like a raw feeling. Like it's not like, it's like you go to the UFC, UFC's awesome, it's brutal. And then you like watch Fight Club. And like imagine if Fight Club was real. The Indies are Fight Club.
Okay.
Like Indies are, okay, where's this building? that one by the train station, and you open up like a train door, and there's like 1,500 people there, like drinking beer, going crazy for wrestling. You know, so it's just like, for me, like the indies is just, it's like a more raw environment, but personable. Kind of like, I don't know if you ever heard of PWG.
Of course, yeah.
So PWG, sick promotion, their venues wouldn't hold more than like 500-600 people.
Wow.
Those crowds were so electric and insane and just as crazy as 60,000 people.
Okay.
Also, the difference between 60,000 and like 600, one room, stadiums, whatever, but 60,000, perfect thing is like when you're playing to a crowd. If you're playing to 600, you hit your move, reactions quick, right? It's right there. Spreads like fire. When you got 60,000 people, it still spreads like fire, but it's like move hits. Oh, this is all. Takes a while. On the indies, you hear that this is awesome or holy what a crap chant right away. While WWE or say even a bigger show like the Tokyo Dome or something like that, if you're gonna get a cheer like that, it's gonna take a while to form and build. Contagious, you know?
When you left WWE, I put out a tweet saying PFL should look at you. I don't know if you have interest. Do you have any interest in coming over to MMA?
Yeah, you know, and I got hit up by a couple people. I got hit up by bare knuckle boxing.
Okay.
And I got hit up by, I believe, somebody from PFL. I think it was a Dan Lambert.
Yeah.
And he told me to message somebody or they message some kind of messages went by. And they asked me if I was interested. I said, I'm definitely interested, you know. Just, you know, the fight's got to be right and the money's got to be right. And I haven't heard back since. But to be fair, I've also been wrestling nonstop and doing that because honestly, when it comes to money, it's guaranteed money and I show up and it's there. But I would love to step back in the cage or ring by, you know, some point. I want to do it by the end of 2024.
You would like to?
I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah. But you got a proposition for
No,
it?
but we do have the president of BK coming up. In
Well,
like
also I say you got Jorge. You got Masvidal with the Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA.
You interested?
I mean, maybe give me somebody.
How much you weigh, by the way?
Steamroll, dude. I'm not saying he does the job for me.
No, you know, like a bit of a jabroni.
Let me shake off the
jobber
rust.
type. Yes, no, I like that. How much you weigh? Like what weight class?
I weighed 211.
Okay, so would you be light heavyweight or middleweight?
I'll drop down to middleweight.
You think middleweight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on who you give me.
Okay.
Depends on
170, no more.
Yeah. Oh no. I did. No way, dude.
I have a theory that Matt Riddle, the pro wrestler, was born. Do you know what I'm going to say?
I don't.
Matt Riddle, the pro wrestler, was born in Calgary at UFC 149. I feel like that press conference. I feel like that's when the entertainer came out in you. Is that a crazy thought?
I don't think that's a crazy thought at all. I think that's definitely where I started getting more confidence.
Yes.
You know, because even when I watched videos, even our interviews prior to that, I was still like a kid. I was still growing up, you know? And I felt by then, that was also my first time on a UFC main card. Usually I was always on the undercard, but a bunch of people got hurt that
was a crazy card.
I came in, I was, you know, so yeah. But I think there's a couple variables, and that I also got submission of the night that night too. So you know, I had some confidence going into that one.
Oh yeah,
but too much confidence, because then I got fired a couple fights later.
Yeah. Bret Hart was there.
Yeah, he was.
Remember that?
Yeah, you know who else was there? Big Black.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Robin
That's
Big.
right. Yes, he was a huge fan.
I know. R.I.P.
Yeah, he was a huge fan.
Actually, R.I.P. to Virgil. If you know Virgil.
Yes, earlier today. Yes, of course. I loved Virgil.
Yeah.
When Virgil turned on Ted DiBiase, when he was like, I had enough of his shit. You remember that?
Yeah.
In the early 90s. That was a huge moment. Then he showed up with the tights with the stripes. Did you ever cross paths with him?
I crossed paths with him a couple times on the indies.
Wow.
Because when I was coming up on the indies, Virgil had like a gimmick where he would like set up his table
his merch.
And
Yes.
and overcharge for things. But people paid it. It was great.
He was a legend.
Yeah.
All right, so MLW, intimidation games. For those that may not know what MLW is, what's going on tomorrow night?
Well, MLW, Major League Pro Wrestling. We're having one of our biggest shows tomorrow, Intimidation Games. I mean, I believe there's like an actual like huge war type scenario, a bunch of dudes fighting, but I kind of focus on my own thing, you know. MLW is a big company. I'm just a little part of it. But tomorrow I wrestle this dude named Bad Dude Tito.
Yes.
But I don't think he's ready for the rude dude tomorrow. And I'm putting my New Japan World Television Championship on the line. And dude, let's be real, I'm not losing it. There's no way I just got it. I just got it. I just brought it back from Japan. I didn't bring it to America just to lose to some dude named Dude Tito. I can't do that. I'm the rude dude. I'm the king of bros. I'm keeping the title. That's that.
Any stipulations on this match? Or is it just
yeah, there are. So the one thing I like about the TV title is it can't go longer than 15 minutes.
Interesting.
So if it does, it's a draw.
Draw, okay, and you keep the belt.
And I hope, right? Unless they have a stipulation before the match, if I have too many draws. But I haven't had any draws yet. But it's a 15-minute time limit because it's made for TV matches. And usually 15 minutes is the allotted slot for a TV.
Okay. And people can watch it on Triller TV Plus.
Triller TV Plus,
okay.
Yes.
And this is one of many events and matches that you're a part of with MLW.
Oh, yeah. Like, we're doing this one tomorrow, which is the 29th of February. I think we have another one either the 30th or 29th of March in Tampa, like every month.
Back in Tampa.
Back in Tampa.
Maybe no strip clubs and cocaine this time.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to go to rehab.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go to the strip clubs and do, you know, I'll skip that too, you know?
You're a father of 4 now.
Father of 4.
So you got to keep it on the, yes.
Right? Yeah.
I love the nails, by the way.
Thanks. You know, I was actually going to get them done yesterday, and slow business. I just went tanning instead.
No, I can see.
But yeah, I'll get them done probably tomorrow before the show.
Okay. Well, lovely to see you, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Dude, always a pleasure.
This was great. I appreciate your candor and your willingness to open up. I love that you're Matt Riddle now, and I know they brought it back later, but you know that was always really weird to me that you were just Riddle.
Just Riddle.
That was strange.
I felt like everybody was like my high school coach. Hey, Riddle, get over here.
Exactly.
I'm like, got first
Whatever
name.
to Matt. But I wish you the best in this new chapter, of course, at home as well. And thanks for coming in a little early. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro.
You're the man. There he is.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle, the one and only. Competing tomorrow, that belt on the line for MLW Intimidation Games. We'll take a quick break. Here's my conversation with Ryan Garcia Monday, right there. That was a crazy one.
Yeah.
That was a crazy one. Ryan Garcia, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome him in. Is he there? Is it in fact him?
I cannot wait to address all the bullshit he just said.
Hello, Ryan.
How you doing?
Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'll get out. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Of course.
Man, it's hard to get in touch with you. It's easier to get in touch with the freaking president of the United States these days.
I'm sorry, brother.
No, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You seem upset.
He's an idiot. I just watched a little bit of what he said. He's a dumbass.
Okay, you want to get right into it?
I never disrespected his religion. I want that to be clear right now. First of all, I would never do that. Second of all, I could show you the DMs. I said Merry Christmas. He took that as disrespect. Did I know that Muslims don't celebrate Christmas? No.
That's what he's referring to?
Yes, he's an idiot.
This is a conversation between you two?
Yes, and I stand up for, you know, I don't believe in religion. I believe in Christ. I follow Christ. I love Jesus, and I like to be led in the Spirit. So if I say, hey, I feel Christ is going to provide me victory, that's not disrespectful to your religion. I have a Muslim photographer. He's right there. He's dope as heck. Everybody, we love each other. I don't hate nobody. Don't try to start that narrative. I told you, don't bring religion into this. I don't know why you're doing this. I already told him in the DMs, let's not make this a religious thing.
This is since the interview, or?
No, this was like
a while ago. He said you spoke to someone else and it got back to him from that person. Who's he referring to?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
Put it all out there. First of all, I don't care. I don't hide nothing. I'll address anything I say because I don't have no bad heart in anything. So, shit, if you feel like I disrespected you, please let me know because I didn't do it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming in.
No, thank you.
Yes. It's good
now
to
let's
see you,
get
all
back to
right. Yes.
I also got him something, though, when he's like, because I don't know how good his cut man is.
Okay.
So I got something that could clean his blood.
What is that? Oh, gosh. Okay.
No tampon. Fuck you,
Yeah. By the way, your hair looks fantastic. Did you put lotion? What is going on here?
Jergens, bro.
Bro, I love the Jergens for my skin and stuff. I saw you do a whole thing where you put it in your hair.
Yes.
What's up with
I
that?
get Jergens and
You put
I just
moisturizer,
stuff it all in my hair.
body lotion,
Yes.
as gel.
Yes. I've been doing that for now about 3 months.
3 months. Who told you to do this?
Just like one day, I didn't have any gel, and I figured that.
And it works. I mean, it looks good. But what kind of feedback did you get when you showed us the tutorial on your Instagram?
They were like, "Yo, this dude's weird," but I was like, "Okay, I'm weird, but try it." And then it works. And then now who's weird? You know,
Okay.
I'm just an outside the box thinker. That's
Sure. Okay, so there's so much to talk to you about. I know we don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to get right into it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll stay here longer though.
You'll stay here? All right,
I
cool.
mean, if it's going good.
Okay, we'll see. All right, that's a lot of pressure on me. First time in the studio, right?
I know it looks good.
I appreciate it.
Like
Thank
some
you.
studios don't look as cool like in person. This one does.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So Oscar Duarte, you beat that guy.
Yeah.
You move on.
Okay.
All good. Some people criticize your performance. I was just having a conversation with Devin. I don't know if you heard that part of the conversation where I said, I think that you deserved a little bit of leeway. First time with Derek James, coming off the Tank fight. I thought it was a solid performance.
I thought I did great. I don't even see that where I did anything wrong. That dude was strong and he hit hard. And it wasn't like he didn't know what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. That was a more dangerous fight than Regis Progress. Everybody knows that. Regis Progress is a good fighter, but he started boxing late, and you could tell. You know, he's just not at that level. So for me, I felt like I fought a harder person, which is more scarier when they can knock you out cold like that. So for me, I felt like I fought good. People criticize the shoulder roll because, you know, I'm Mexican. It looks like I shouldn't be using the shoulder roll. But again, I do what I feel like I need to do. He was putting a lot of pressure.
From Ryan Garcia, how about Matt Riddle? Supremely honest stuff, I thought, and willing to speak about things. Really appreciate that. It was there's a lot to cover with him, and I feel like I couldn't get to all of it. A lot since we last spoke. I think the last time we spoke in person was prior to that SummerSlam event in Vegas in 2021, and so much has happened since then. Good, bad, and ugly, but he comes in there swinging and doesn't really hold back. So hope you enjoyed that. And, of course, the old-time fans will remember him in the UFC. Was a pretty damn good MMA fighter who has transitioned very nicely into pro wrestling. So check out that MLW show if you're around tomorrow. For now, though, before we get to Dave Feldman at 3:40, I got a lot of questions to answer, so let me run through as many of these as possible. Frankie, hi, Ariel. I heard you talking about not getting too attached to singular fighters as a result of your career, and it left me wondering whether there have been specific events/occurrences in the sport that have elicited extreme emotion from you. My example is that I got quite choked up watching the Korean Zombies final walkout. Nothing. I've talked about like DC's last fight I got nervous for, but I feel like I've done a pretty good job of separating. The only time I feel emotionally invested is if I think I can get someone on the show if they win. Like, oh, if this result happens, we have a better chance of getting this guy on as opposed to this result. But I'm not sitting there going like, come on, let's go. I felt some sort of way when Leon beat Kamaru just because of all the shit he had to deal with. And I just so happened to be alone. I do the post show for The Ringer, and I was alone. My family was in Montreal. And it was literally me and my dog, Matcha, and I was able to, like, react to it. But that was like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened because it looked like he was done. But I'm not jumping up and down and screaming and crying and things like that. I've tried to really separate the two. Frankie adds, I don't know if GC is here. Is he here? Negative. Okay, I'm going to get back to that because it's a piece for GC. That's 34. Lonnie, what are the chances that the UFC is slow rolling us on the real UFC 300 main event? And it's actually McGregor Chandler. Guys, a few people asked me about this, and I appreciate the willingness to, think outside of the box, but it's not happening. Chandler, McGregor, not happening at 300. I'm sorry. June 29th, I still believe, is the date. I really do. And you see, the UFC announced June 29th, so it wasn't like he pulled that out of his behind. That's a real date, which initially you would think like, International Fight Week, June 29th? But no, that's right. So that's the first piece. Let's see the second piece now come together. Gilbert, hello, Ariel. I love Monday's show. I've always been more of a casual boxing fan, but lately you can't ignore the fights they've been putting together. Do you think that boxing has been influenced by the UFC when it comes to making big fights? To a degree, yes. Eddie Hearn has talked about this. Oscar has talked about it. Top Rank has talked about it. They have seen the success. Fights are getting made. The public has spoken. They want the best to fight the best. And I think not only are the promoters learning from MMA, the fighters are learning from MMA. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Tank Davis. All of this helps. It really does. You want to make the big fights. You want to get the people on board. You want the pay-per-view dollars. So yes, UFC, given their business structure, able to deliver on those fights. Meanwhile, boxing was delivering one-sided squash matches. No one wants to see that. That's tiresome. And so yes, I do think that the UFC deserves a lot of credit. Do you think the crossover between the two sports is beginning to have more forgiveness for losing a boxing match? More forgiveness for losing a boxing match. I think what he's trying to say is there was once a time if you lose a boxing match, people say your career is done. Now I think the fans are getting smarter and realize if you're fighting the best, like I don't think anyone thinks Ryan is done. He lost to Tank Davis. You fight the best, you lose, big deal. Brush yourself off, keep going. Look at some of the biggest stars in MMA. 10 plus losses. Who cares? 5 plus losses. Who cares? People want to be entertained. They want to see you put it all on the line. They want to see killer be killed. And then they want to see the reclamation project. They want to see the resurrection. They want to see the comeback. So, yeah, I think they'd rather that than someone who's 30-0 fighting a bunch of no-namers. I think if this happens, it'll be two more and more big fights. Lastly, will boxing ever get out of the extremely heavily top-loaded pay-per-view cards? I don't know. I mean, you can make a case that UFC is getting a little bit more top-heavy, but other than that, you see these cards in Saudi Arabia. Who knows if that's sustainable? Given the business structure and the way things are broken down, I think you'll always see more top-heavy boxing matches. Another question for GC. He's not there, right?
He's back.
Oh, he's back. GC, Frankie wanted to tell you, not Mysterious Frank, but Frankie in the Substack. Can we get GC to stop pronouncing Richard M-I-L-L-E like that? It is pronounced Richard Mille rather than Richard Millet.
Oh, Richard Millet.
Yeah, I think it's a French name.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to stick with Richard Millet.
Matthew,
I appreciate the effort, though. I appreciate it. The same thing every time I say Ajax.
Oh,
I get a huge influx of messages.
There was one here. There was one I read. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What is it? Ajax.
You do you, bro. By the way, Forest and United are playing now. I don't know if you know this. FA Cup. What's going on? Oh, halftime. 0-0. Not bad.
Yeah. Nils across the board.
How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. Haven't scored a goal yet.
Matt Turner back between the pipes.
Nils, but yeah.
Awani there, Gibbs, Alanga.
Yeah, Ajax and what did he say? Ricard Millet?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You say whatever you want. But this is another one. Matthew got to get said. Who wins in a mile race right now? You or GC, meaning me or you? Oh, I know you run and work out, and GC does his 5Ks and such. So who wins? Let's hear it. None of that wishy-washy. New York Rick replies either.
No,
we need to know.
I'm smoking you.
I agree. You're smoking me.
Yes.
I'm not a great runner.
What are you thinking you're logging right now on a mile?
On a mile?
Yeah.
11. If I really push. Why are you laughing?
11 minutes on a mile? That's the fastest you think you could do?
No, I'm saying if I'm going out for a run, I'm not trying to beat a time. If I'm just going at my normal speed.
I'm saying we're racing though. We're racing.
Okay, but I'm just telling you. I'm not trying to. I'm also 41.
Oh, I know. I understand.
11. Why is 11?
11 was shocking. I thought you were going to say maybe 9.
Not me trying my hard. I'm just going out for a run.
Okay, a light jog. You're going in 11.
If I'm trying my hardest.
Trying your hardest, yeah.
Like absolute. But then I don't know if I can make it to the second mile. Like I'm laying it all out there.
That's what I'm saying. We're just talking 1 mile.
Yeah, maybe 9 minutes. But I'm telling you right now, you kill me. Yeah, I'm not a runner.
What I was thinking 9 minutes.
Now we get into those, into through the ropes in the squared circle, and it's a little bit different.
All right.
I'm going to the body, shoulder rolling. You
were shocked when you found out I was a southpaw.
I was shocked. Yeah. Well, I saw you throw a jab, and I was like, wait, it's actually the other way. Yeah. No, that is interesting. That does bring
problems in there.
Another element. But no, you smoke me. No,
In a mile though, but that's like my strength versus
right,
something that might not be yours.
Is that a strength?
Oh yeah, I've been running my whole life.
Yeah. No, you have the body type. You could be like a race walker.
Yes, yeah.
I know a lot about race walking now. I don't know.
I would love to get into it, man. You could get a gold medal at 50.
Yeah.
Then everyone would have to call you an Olympic gold medalist.
See you in Paris. Danny Breezy, Mr. Helwani, Danny from Charlotte here. What a time in combat we are living. His Excellency making the big fights we've been dreaming about. PFL and Bellator joining forces as the solidified co-leader, and boxing being as hot as ever. And of course, who could forget about the consistently riveting Apex shows? Obviously joking. Sorry, Rick. Is this the most exciting time in your career covering combat sports? If not, what other time was as unpredictable and as monumental as this? Thanks a lot. And up the trees! Come on, you Reds. Here's the thing. There have been times where I think MMA was, or in the UFC in particular, was presenting a better product. You can't beat 2015, 2016, Connor's rise. 2014 was unbelievable. I don't know if there's been a period where my three loves as far as combat are concerned, MMA, boxing, pro wrestling, has ever been this interesting, where it's like Raw, Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 40, all the craziness going on in the world of wrestling, and you got AEW doing their thing, and TNA with the resurgence, and Japan doing their thing. UFC on fire, banger after banger after banger, boxing on fire, the upcoming schedule over the next few months, and everything going on with Francis and the heavyweights. Yeah, I feel, Danny, I feel pretty good about saying, like, each have had their own great moments, but a moment in time where we're covering the sports landscape, the combat sports landscape, and they're all thriving at the same time, I don't know if there's been a better time. I really don't. El Peruano.
Yes, Mario, can I interrupt with some breaking news? You're on a high right now, but I do have to unfortunately break some bad news.
What? Did Forrest concede?
Oh, well, I don't know about the Forrest game. Shout out to Nick, who sent me a ticket. He bet on one of Forrest's players. I don't know. Let me bring up the name. Hold on.
To score?
This is probably worthwhile.
It's 0-0.
Yeah, he bet on over half a goal, and he scored.
Wait, how could he score? It's 0-0.
Oh, wait. No. Is it?
Yeah, it's 0-0.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
No, it's 0-0.
Okay, maybe I have that wrong. We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
The breaking news, Knicks have been denied their request
you know what?
game against the Houston Rockets.
Okay, I'm happy you bring that up. I'm okay with that. I'm at peace. Tit for tat, eye for an eye. Did you see the end of the game on Monday? Dante DiVincenzo legit tackled someone.
You know what's funny? I feel like that wasn't a foul.
Oh my God. He like chop blocked
he
him.
Beat him. He beat him to the ball. And he won, and it was a 50-50 ball that he got to first, and it looked bad. But if you look at the reverse angle, like, he was there first. I'm all good with that.
Really?
DDV's a dog. He was there first. Loose ball. He was there first. The Pistons. Yeah, the Pistons.
Yeah, it was the Pistons.
The Pistons should have been more aggressive to get it.
That was a crazy
Was it
sequence.
Asar Thompson? I think it was.
Yeah.
He wasn't aggressive enough to get the ball. 50-50 loose ball. DDV's a dog. He got it. I'm fine with that call. Completely fine with that call.
Insane.
And the Knicks should have gotten.
I mean, they should have won by 20, but they're banged up. No Jalen Brunson yesterday. That was against
How about
the
that
Pelicans.
Max Strus though?
Oh
How about
my
that Max
gosh.
Strus though?
One of the greatest shots in recent NBA history, coupled with one of the worst calls in recent NBA history. Like
I know.
Was that the Cavs guy? What is going on? He's reacting.
Yeah,
to
that was
it.
the Cavs broadcast team.
He's legit reacting to it like it was like a layup in the second quarter to go like up 21-22. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
he was so nonchalant.
There was a time where we had Fred and Austin in the booth for the Cavs.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Fred. That was goat memories. I mean, 2016, best calls of our lives. But the shot though, Max
Shot
Strus,
was nuts.
big
It was
time
Jerry
player.
West-esque. Yeah, back in the 70s.
Number 2 in the East, baby.
I didn't think that they would get it, but, worth the try. It's like in MMA when you appeal a loss, you never get it. El Peruano, hola Ariel, loved having your family on the show. That hello to your wife was hilarious. I too have the golden ratio, son, daughter. I didn't know that was the golden ratio. So then what do you have? What is it called what you have, Rick? Daughter, son. Is that something else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Never even
I don't
heard
know
of
what
this.
the. Yeah.
Last week you mentioned Ed Soares. What's he up to these days? Haven't heard his name or seen him interviewed in a long time. He is the president of the LFA. So that's what he's doing. And also still manages guys along with George Guimaraes, who, of course, they manage the likes of Alex Pereira. You may have heard of him. Pretty good run for that guy. Jake, hola Ariel. Quick couple of questions. What do you think the UFC's thoughts are on Chael and John being featured pretty heavily on the PFL Supercard? Well, Chael's working for PFL, so that's not a surprise. I'm sure they don't love John being there, but kind of no different than Conor going to, the Francis fight. Now the interview and this and that, it is ESPN. It is ESPN, so it's all in the family. I'm sure they don't love it. But there's certain guys who can get away with it. Conor showing up, BKFC, John doing that sort of thing. He didn't do anything that was like too bad. I don't think they care all that much. That's my thought. They have other things to worry about. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's like, what's the difference? Who cares? Maybe 10 years ago, Dana cares, but now I don't think he cares. Also, no shade to Saudi or the PFL. It was a good, solid card, but the stands were virtually empty. Why was that? I just don't know if PFL is that big of a deal over there. I don't even know if MMA is that big of a deal over there, to be honest. I know pro wrestling is a really big deal. Boxing is becoming a big deal. Soccer, of course. But first ever show, doesn't have the UFC branding, doesn't have the A++ star. I wasn't shocked by that. I mean, no real different than the crowds that PFL are drawing here in America, to be honest. So, yeah. I wasn't blown away. Here's Alex Dubb. Hello, moderator Ariel. Hello. And continuing the conversation about Claressa being the GOAT in boxing and appearing more vulnerable in MMA, you drew a comparison to Jordan. However, what about the many MMA fighters who are elite college and or Olympic wrestlers or jiu-jitsu champions but didn't reach the same level when transitioning to MMA? While you might be better at identifying specific names, is Claressa's situation truly as rare as Jordan's baseball example? I kind of feel like those are different because they're not necessarily pro. I understand jiu-jitsu might be pro, but I'm talking about someone who's at the top of their game in the pro ranks and moves to a different sport in the pro ranks, as opposed to the transition from wrestling. Like, that's almost like a stepping stone. I view that a little bit differently. Differently.
I think a better example than amateur wrestling might be somebody like Alex Pereira, right? Alex Pereira kind of still near the top of the kickboxing world and then coming over. Now, certainly, I think that's more of a easier transition to MMA than traditional boxing. But also you have to factor in, and when we're talking about like Izzy, Alex, having been cross-training, having been training MMA for a little bit of time before making the jump into MMA. But those are some names that I think might be a closer kind of example of somebody from a singular discipline going to the larger discipline and having success and having great success.
Agreed. Last one here.
Claressa is prime. It's different. It's
totally
just different.
Yeah, it's totally different. Diego, hello, Ariel and the boys. Who's the A side in the Francis Joshua boxing match? Who is the biggest fan base following? I might be biased, but I think the answer is Francis, since he was Rob versus Fury. I think Francis is the A side in any fight he is in, and would love to hear your thoughts on this. It's 1,000% AJ. I mean, in boxing, AJ is gigantic, and in particular in the UK, but worldwide as well. Francis against Problema on PFL, he's the A side. In boxing and on March 8th, I would be shocked if he's the A side. AJ A side, Francis walks first, AJ second. May the best man win. All right, April 27th, Knucklemania 4, Los Angeles, the California debut of BKFC. We love when Dave Feldman, the president and the founder of BKFC, comes on to break some news. And according to the BKFC social channels, he has some news to break. So without further ado, let us say hello to Dave Feldman. Hello, Dave. How are you? Good to talk to you again.
What's going on, Ariel? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's always great to have you on, especially when you are bearing gifts. You guys had a big announcement when California legalized bare knuckle. I think that was huge for the company. And then you shortly thereafter announced Knucklemania April 27th in Los Angeles. First off, why did you choose there for that big show, your fourth, this sort of being like your WrestleMania, your Super Bowl, your big event of the year?
Although we never done a show in California before, LA is our -- market on all of our viewing stats, on our app, on Fubo, on anything that we're doing our viewing on. LA is our number one market. So why not hit our number one market? I think we're going to sell out fast. It's a good card. We have a lot of requests already for some A-listers and B-listers that want to be there as well. And I think it's going to be an awesome event for us. April 27th. at the Peacock Theater, right across the street from Staples Center, 7,800 seats. I think we'll sell it out pretty fast.
That's amazing. Okay, so downtown LA, big event for you guys, your fourth one. Let's not dilly-dally. Let's not waste any time. What's the main event?
Well, we were juggling back and forth because we just ended up doing a deal in the Middle East, and we weren't sure where we were gonna land Mike Perry, and we're putting Mike Perry there. He's gonna actually. We went through a bunch of opponents, and we can talk about that after I make the announcement. But we ended up with one of our former 175-pound world champions with BKFC, former UFC legend Thiago Alves will fight Mike Perry in the main event on that card. The co-main event will be Ben Rothwell versus Todd Duffy, a fight that we tried to do on our Utah card December 2nd, but Ben Rothwell couldn't make that fight. And then we have the debut of former two-time world champion Alfredo Angulo, boxing world champion, fought everybody in the world, real tough guy, built for this sport. He's going to make his debut. We have Bryce Hall coming back. He's going to, we're looking for an opponent for him right now, and that's going to be good. And a special one we just got done is we actually have our two-division world champion, Lorenzo Hunt. He's our 185 and 205-pound champion. He's actually going to vacate both of those titles and move up to heavyweight and take on our champion, Mick Terrell, for the heavyweight championship. So we have a really, really stacked card for LA, April 27th. We're very, very excited about it. And then we have some other news that we can pop on here too as this interview goes on.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I thought you were just coming with the main event. You gave us there's some breaking news. Well done there. Appreciate that. Okay, so Mike Perry, obviously to me, when I think of BKFC, I think he's the face of your promotion. I think he's the face of the sport. So I think a lot of people were hoping that he'd be on this, and I think he's teased a little bit on social media. So people were, we're trying to bank on that. How did we end up with Thiago? And could you tell us what some of the other options were?
Yeah, I mean, we were in talks with Darren Till.
Wow.
He asked me for a number. I gave him that number, and then he came back and said he wanted to take a boxing match or two first before he wanted to step into the BKFC ring. So we had deep talks with him and his team. Then we talked to Anthony Pettis about stepping up as well, but he's going to do another boxing match first. And then I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Anthony Pettis and Mike Perry later on this year, or even Darren Till and Mike Perry later on this year, but it just wasn't able to happen this fast for this card. So we started thinking about, a lot of our fans say that Mike Perry doesn't fight a bare knuckle fighter. He just fights guys from outside the organization. So this is a test for him. A guy that's 2-0, former 175-pound champ in our organization, former legend in the UFC, Thiago Alves, comes to fight. So it's going to be a great test for Mike Perry.
Which of those two other options do you think you were closest to finalizing, Till or Pettis?
Till was a little funny because I was dealing with him really over social media at first, and then I finally got in touch with his management team, and we were talking, and when I told them the number, they said, perfect, we'll get this done, and then they came back and they didn't want it. So I think they were both kind of equal on where it stood really to get it done. I don't think we were far off of getting it done. I think if this fight was May 27th instead of April 27th, I would have got one of those done. But, we'll look at something for later on down the year.
Do you think Till wants to do bare knuckle? Because in the past, he has said he maybe feels a little bit lukewarm to it.
Yeah. I mean, he might not want to, and maybe that's why he, ultimately turned down the offer. He said it was definitely something he wanted to entertain. It's something that he thought was good, and he officially challenged Mike Perry a couple weeks ago. So I was like, okay, now let's put the offer out there and let's make this thing happen, and it just couldn't happen.
Okay. Thiago Alves, as you said, 2-0 in BKFC, but hasn't fought since 2021. Is there a reason for that layoff?
Yeah, we just had we weren't getting the numbers right at first, and then he opted to potentially fight in a different organization. I believe it was Khabib's organization, but he never ended up fighting there. And then we just stopped talking. It was just one of those things where we went our way, he went his way, and no hard feelings. And then as we were thinking of another opponent, his name came up, and we thought it was a good option. And he's a bare knuckle fighter. He's 2-0 in bare knuckle. Like I said, it's going to be a test for Mike Perry because this guy stands in front of you and he bangs, and he is undefeated in bare knuckle, and he's a tough dude. So I thought it was a great test to get him tested with a reputable bare knuckle fighter, and to see give the BKFC fans what they want, right? Like we're a lot of times giving all combat sports fans kind of some really good stuff to look for. And I think Thiago Alves does that as well, but I think he really gives the BKFC fans something to really look forward to as well.
Is this 175?
This one will be at 185.
Okay. Last time we saw Mike was against Eddie Alvarez, that great show in Utah. And I know afterwards you expressed interest in running it back. Was that considered?
Not yet. It's something that I definitely, think is open. We'll see what happens here. I mean, there's a lot of options for Mike Perry. Now, a lot of people, he's a target now because he's a money target, right? He's not necessarily a target like everybody wants to fight him because they think they can beat him. They want to fight him because they can make money fighting him.
Okay. You talked about that being in Philly. Is that still like, does that fight only make sense for you in Philly?
I think it's a hell of a fight in Philly. We're starting to sign a lot of boxers as well right now. One of the guys on our team, Nelson Lopez, is really going after all the top boxers. We've been in talks with some really top boxers now. I can't mention it now because we're in negotiations right now, but 2 or 3 of the top 10 boxers in the world we're in negotiations with right now.
Wow.
To bring them over to KFC. Yeah. We're really making a big push here. I don't know if you saw, but a couple of weeks ago, we were in the, right after Christmas, we were in Abu Dhabi, and we met up with the team over there. They're officially our team now. An investment fund out of the Middle East that's going to do the MENA area. It's going to do Middle East, Northern Africa, as well as India, and it's going to be something that's going to put us in a really great position to make a play for all the free agents in the world.
Wow. Okay. So you feel like you're in a good spot.
Yeah, we're in a
And so here we are with this big event in California. Where do we stand on Nevada? Because I feel like that would be a big one for you guys.
We went out and we pitched Nevada, and it was a great pitch. And I thought we got along really well with them, and we're just waiting to see what the next step is there. When it comes time to vote for it, or when it comes time to give us a thumbs up or not, I'm not sure. We're going to get back in touch with them. Probably in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we can push something in there. I don't really see how, at this stage, not to sound cocky, but I don't see how any state can really say no to us now. I mean, we proved ourselves. We put on great shows. We're getting big names. We're drawing big attendance. We're doing good numbers, and above all, our injury rate is lower than any other combat sport out.
And especially when you sanction slap fighting, how can you not sanction bare knuckle? I know you don't want to go there, but I'll go there. And it would just make all the sense in the world. What about New York?
New York, we talked to the commission. The commission is great. They actually love it. We just know that it's a big legislative battle. So we weren't really ready to take that on. And I think we're ready to take that on right now. I do think we're ready. I think that's probably going to be the next step for us is New York. We have some other big states opening up. We actually just got a deal done with Mohegan Sun. We're going to go there.
Wow.
May 11th. We're actually going to have another announcement I'll make. We just signed Heather Hardy to fight Christine Faria on that card. I think that's going to be a great one as well. We also signed former Olympian and former 3-time boxing world champion Guillermo Rigondeaux is going to also fight.
Damn.
And we got Jimmy Rivera fighting on that card. We got a bunch of guys that are going to be on that card. It's going to be a pretty big one. And then we're trying to dot the I's and cross the T's on this contract for the Middle East for the late May for a show over there.
Okay. And would that be in Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi or Dubai. We're going back and forth with them right now.
Okay. I actually just saw Todd Duffy at a comedy show of all places here in New York a week or so ago. He seemed quite ready to go, so I'm sure he's happy about this. What happened? Yeah. Why did that fight fall through at the last minute, the Rothwell fight against Duffy back in December?
Well, Rothwell, his team called and said he was just too sick and he was going to have trouble making the weight because he was sick, and he wasn't, I talked to him. I said, he said, I'll do the fight. I probably can make the weight, but I'm going to be drained. And I said, it's not really fair to you, to the fans, to anybody. So relax, take off, and we'll put you on. I think we were talking about putting him on in March, but this thing popped up, and I think it's a good opportunity for him and for Todd Duffy. Todd Duffy is a California guy, so it makes a lot of sense for us.
A couple of weeks back, saw a photo of you and Dana White in his office, and then shortly thereafter, Mike Perry said that there was an offer on the table for the, I guess, Zuffa or TKO to buy you guys. I think he said $200 million. I reached out to you about this, but I'll ask you about it here. Is there any truth to that they tried to buy you guys, or at least made an offer?
No, there's no truth to that. Look, we had great conversation. He was very, very surprised by the amount of shows and the numbers we were doing, and could be of interest to them. But crazy thing is man, as I'm doing this journey, man, it's like it's roller coaster, man. You have the best days in the world, and then you have days where you're like, man, forget this. I want to stop. Yesterday was one of those days. This morning I wake up to an unbelievable offer to buy BKFC, and it's we turned it down. We're just not where we want to be yet, but it was, as you remember in some of my interviews I do with the USA, I want to make sure it changes everyone's life.
Yeah.
This one would change everyone's life, but I talked to a couple of the team members, and they said, let's keep going with it. They wanted to keep us involved with it. And because they wanted to keep us involved with it, I said, look, if we're going to be involved with it, we might as well just ride this out ourselves and let's do it. So, we're going to stay on. We're not going anywhere. We're doing great things. We're going to do shows in 7 to 9 different countries this year. We're opening up some major states. Our numbers are going through the roof. Our projected revenue for this year is 5x of what we did last year. So we got some pretty big growth strides in 2024, and we're real happy about where we are.
Can I ask who that offer came from?
You can ask, but I'm not going to tell you.
Fair enough. And when you say that there's an offer on the table, so what is the relationship with Triller? Do they still own you guys, or did that?
Yeah, so Triller is they're scheduled to go public within the next 40 days right now. They are with us, but look, it's something that I run past them and we talk about it, and if it makes sense, then we do it. But it doesn't make sense yet. I think we're the crown jewel of Triller right now. They have about 10 businesses underneath their umbrella, and I think we're driving that ship right now. And it just makes sense for us to stay where we're at right now, keep going, blowing this thing up as we're doing. Doing the best that we can do with what we have, and some big things are about to pop for us, man, and we're very, very happy, man.
I love it.
We got some bigger names that we're signing. We got a lot more shows we're doing. We're expanding this thing really everywhere, and we're in a great spot.
When you say yesterday was one of those bad days, why?
Just bad news. This guy didn't want to fight. I was expecting to sign this fight. It didn't work. Another business thing happened that I can't really talk about, that I was like really, really, I woke up yesterday morning expecting that to happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. Look, you deal with it. Look, you wake up. It's every day is a battle, man. It's a battle to keep the thing floating, to keep the thing going as fast as it can go, and to grow it to where you want to grow it to. And you have bad days, you have good days, you have good things that happen, you have bad things that happen. And yesterday wasn't the best news, and today was unbelievable news all around. And we're happy, man. We are. We're happy about the growth. We're happy about where we're going. And look, we have them struggles. We have them speed bumps. And, I've been through that before. I've had really bad days before, right? And I've had some really good days, and we're going to keep doing that.
I saw on your Instagram, speaking of which, you shared a story where you considered ending it all. Like, you were in such a bad spot. I didn't know you had been diagnosed with cancer. And I believe you've beaten that maybe a couple times.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So well done. I didn't, and this was back in 2016. I didn't realize that it was that dark for you back then.
It wasn't like I mentioned on there. It wasn't like I was going through a bad time.
It was a bad day, right?
Bad day, man.
Yeah.
I had a bad day. I got diagnosed with cancer again. I got turned down by a major state I thought I was going to get in this journey to get it. I had a guy that was going to fund the thing back out. I was having some personal problems at home, and I was broke, man. I was dead broke. I had $262 to my name. And, I went to the local bridge here. I grabbed the hold, and I was about to jump off, and this thing, I don't know if you can see that picture back there. I'm not sure if I showed it to you before, but there's a picture back there. Picture right here that my mother actually painted with a paintbrush in her mouth. My mother was paralyzed from her her neck down. And I saw this. I saw that she never gave up, and I pushed off, and I went back in my car. I made a video, and I said, I'm gonna change everything. I'm gonna be as big and strong as I possibly can, and just keep pushing until I get to where I want to be. And I never look back, and things are happening. Things are happening for us. But I had a bad day, and a lot of people have bad days. They don't talk about it. They don't do things. They don't tell people about it, and nobody knows they have bad days. And I had a bad day.
Well, it's great knowing all of that, and just knowing the ups and downs of trying to get something like this off the ground. It's great to see you guys thriving. I do want to go back to that Dana White meeting. What was the purpose of the meeting? If not, was it just like a friendly get together, or was there business?
No, it was a middleman, if you will, wanted to kind of set the meeting up, and he did. And we just sat down and talked for a little bit, and, a lot of things were talked about, and, a lot of what he's doing. And it was just good to meet him and talk to him. And
first time.
Well, I met him actually back in 2012 that he didn't remember. And I reminded him of that meeting. I was at a show in Atlantic City, and a UFC show, and I just did a bare knuckle show, my first one I ever did on an Indian reservation in about 6 months prior. And I went to a UFC event at the Rebel in Atlantic City, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to this guy about this. So I jumped over the guardrail. I jumped over the other guardrail, and the security's like, yo, what are you doing? I said, no, I work here. And then I was like, yo, my man. So I tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, yo, I'd like to talk to you about that bare knuckle. Did you hear about it? He goes, yeah, I heard about it. He goes, you never get that done. It'll never work. Forget it. And I was like, isn't that what they said to you, man? And I remember saying, I'm like, see you at the top. And I turned around, and I'm like, I can't believe I just said that to him. But I told him that story, and he was like, look, man, sometimes it's things like that need, for guys like us to keep moving. He said, congratulations for where you're at. He said, it's amazing what you guys have done so far. And it was a good conversation. Look,
that's great.
And we left that right now, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Did you talk about McGregor Perry?
No.
Co-pro? No. Yeah. All right.
We did.
You did?
I wish we did.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I also saw you with Sakakibara, who's a legend, obviously, from Pride, now with Ryzen. What's going on there? Anything?
Yeah, we're going to definitely do some stuff together. One thing I forgot to mention about Knucklemania, and I'm not going to say the gentleman's name because I'm going to mispronounce it, but one of the Ryzen fighters is going to fight on Knucklemania in a bare knuckle fight for us.
Wow.
And we're going to send some guys over to Japan to fight, and then eventually we're going to do a co-pro there in Japan. We just want to get the fans used to bare knuckle a little bit over there, and just having ongoing conversations every other day or so with his team. Great guys. I liked them a lot. They were very easy to get along with and very easy to get a deal done with.
Wow. Okay, so there is a deal, like a talent sharing thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, making moves left and right.
I'm trying, man. We're just pushing, man. Just push, man. We push so hard, and look, how many people said this was a flash in the pan and it wasn't going to work and it would never last. And again, I always say we're not the biggest thing in the world, but man, we are making a lot of noise, man, from this organization that started with $100,000 and had to beg and borrow for every other dime that they got to make this thing work. We're in a pretty good spot right now. We got a lot of big time investors coming in. We got a lot of really good things happening for the company. And that's because we got a great team. It's because we never quit. We don't listen to no, it's just it's a speed bump. It's an obstacle for us now. And, I've got our fighters in our organization. I think 3 fighters ever tried to leave the organization. 1 employee quit, and he actually works for us again. People don't leave us, because we treat them right. And I think because we treat them right, we're putting on exciting shows. Our production level is as good as anyone else out there. And, we're making moves. Again, are we the biggest thing in the world? No. My goal is to be the biggest thing in the world. who knows how long that's going to take. But, we're just going to keep pushing along every day, signing better fighters, honing our own talent, doing these tryouts, doing prospect series, really creating stars in our own, bringing a lot of different momentum to this sport and to our promotion. And, I'll be talking to you a lot of different times in the next couple of years.
Do you have a number in mind where you will sell for that number?
It's not a number. It's really not a number. And that's where I found out today, because that was the number.
Uh-huh.
Today was the number.
Wow.
That it was a year ago. Like a year ago, that was the number. And it's not a number. It really isn't. It's like, I'm not going to be stupid about it when I know it's not picking up steam anymore, and an offer like that comes in, then we go. But we're picking up steam. We're growing this thing, and we weren't in a position to leave the kind of legacy that we want to leave. I mean, and I really do. I want to leave a legacy. I want to change a lot of people's lives. And when all that happens, then we're ready to go. But we're not ready to go yet.
So April 27th, Peacock Theater, LA Live, Los Angeles, Ben Rothwell, Todd Duffy. Is that for the heavyweight title?
It's not. The winner of that will fight the winner of Lorenzo Hunt and Mick Terrell for the championship. So that fight is for the championship. Lorenzo Hunt fights Mick Terrell for the heavyweight championship, BKFC heavyweight championship, on April 27th. Tickets aren't on sale yet, but we do have a sign-up sheet because we think they're going to go fast. So that's at bkfc.com. Just go to bkfc.com, click on the events, and it'll take you right to the sign-up page.
Mike Perry, Thiago Alves, 185 in the main event. You announced a bunch of other stuff. May 11th, as you said, Mohegan's son, Heather Hardy, joining the fray, Middle East. Ryzen, UFC meeting, just a little chat, nothing crazy. Let's not get nuts. Anything else that we didn't touch that you want to share?
We also did sign a deal with South Korea. We're going to move into South Korea, and we just finished a deal with TV Azteca in Mexico. So we're gonna do live events in Mexico starting in May. We did our February 2nd event on TV Azteca on a delay a day later, and we did 1.2 million viewers. So it was unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Well,
and that was at midnight.
Wow.
So we're doing great numbers. Our numbers are great. Our viewership's great. Like I always say, this sport's not for every single fighter out there, right? But now we're getting the big time boxers in there. It's getting interesting now. It's really getting interesting.
Congratulations on all the success. Thank you for coming on to share all this news. We appreciate it as always, and good luck on the road to Knucklemania 4. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Dave Feldman, kind enough to jump on. Ton of news there, and Mike Perry. Your biggest show of the year, you have to have Mike Perry on if you're BK, and they got it done. So well done there. Darren Till would have been fun. That's the one. That's the Tony Khabib of something. Thank you very much to our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook for all their help. Of course, they are the official or unofficial sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet of up to $1,000 back in a bonus bet. NBA heating up, tough loss for the Knickerbockers last night, but it was the back end of a back-to-back. No Jalen Brunson. What are you going to do? Still feel good, although that 8th spot is creeping up. Only 2 games away from that. So we need to go on a bit of a run here. All of a sudden, Miami's on fire. And the league, there's a lot of parity. So who knows how it's all going to shake out. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DMAR. New customers can get a no-sweat bet of up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code DMAR. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you're in New York, call 877-8-HOPEN-Y or text HOPEN-Y. That's 467-369. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. 1 no-sweat bet per new customer. Issued as 1 bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for deposit wagering eligibility restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Yes, thank you very much to our good friends over at DraftKings. And thank you very much to our good friends over at BetterHelp Online Therapy, because support for this show comes from BetterHelp Online Therapy. Getting the relationships in your life right can be a battle. Everyone knows that. I'm sure you've heard people say things like, hey, marriage is hard work, or you've got to fight to keep your friendships and relationships on track. I know that I've definitely put some blood, sweat, and tears into my own relationships, not only with my loved ones, but with my colleagues as well. In particular, Mysterious Frank, who can be a bit of a pain at times.
Me?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You learn a lot of lessons, you grow, you evolve. Sometimes you need to talk to someone to figure things out. I've talked about this. I've done it. It has worked. And so if you are looking to tune up some of your relationships, therapy can help you figure out what's going wrong and how to get it all fixed. BetterHelp offers affordable, convenient, totally online therapy that is a great solution for anyone out there looking to give therapy a try. So here's what you need to know. Go to betterhelp.com/MMA Hour today to get 10% off your first month. You can become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. And all you have to do is go to betterhelp.com/MMA Hour today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MMA Hour. Phenomenal service, great people, great business. We appreciate them very much. Go check them out if you are in need. All right, time now for a look at this weekend. The Parlay Boys are back. Are they back? I think they're back.
I mean, no message from.
Wow.
I asked, are we in? Are we out? So we'll see as we.
Did
as
she
we
leave
approach
you
the
on
weekend.
scene?
No. I actually just sent it. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I gave her as much time as possible. So just 4 minutes ago, I did. I sent the message.
Just 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, I said we going. I really wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I thought she might give us a buzzer beater and drop what she's taking. But I said we going again or we out. So for now, it'll be a 3-leg parlay. Pena, obviously, more than welcome to join us if she wants to get it in before the weekend.
Okay.
But I'll throw us in the randomizer and we'll see.
While we're doing the randomizer, let me give a quick update. I tried to shout out my guy Nick and I blew it. Taiwo Awoniyi? Is that the right? Is that
yes?
the name?
Of course. You say that like he's not like the most prolific striker in the Premier League.
When did he hit this bet?
I mean, to steal a line from Helwani, if he walked in with my Uber Eats right now,
Helwani, my son wore his jersey today actually to school.
Shot on target, not goal. He had over 0.5 shots on target, minus 125. So he wasn't. I guess it was pretty close to expecting him not to take a shot. Cash that in 18 minutes, he said. So shout out to my guy Nick, betting some Nottingham stuff.
Okay, love it.
Good job, Nick. All right, I will go first. Frank second. Rick will go third. I'll start us off. Alternative total rounds. Main event. Biggie Boy. Gaziev. Great main event. Under 2.5. Gaziev been over 1.5 only one time in his 12-fight career. Biggie Boy, 9 of his last 13 have gone under the 1.5. So let's just get a little bit of cushion. We need to get a win on the board here in 2024. So I'm going to go under 2.5.
Nice.
I like that. I was actually thinking of that as a potential for you guys. Also worth noting, by the way, early start time here.
If you're feeling froggy, jump back in.
Early start time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Why? Oh, yeah. That's right.
Saudi Arabia. Supposed to be the Saudi card, yeah. 1:30 start. 11 fights.
You don't think that they would have liked Rosenstrike versus Gaziev as a main event?
I mean, that's big stuff.
I know.
Six UFC main events for Rosenstrike.
Yes.
Gaziev, second UFC fight.
No, of course not.
Frankie.
Right. What else we got?
All right. So I'm also going to do the main event because there's only one main event that matters, and I'm going to take Jake Paul to knock out.
Oh, Frankie. That is
an incredible.
That is not the main event either.
Well, it's the main event to me.
Disrespect to Amanda Serrano a little bit,
goat.
Frank.
Yeah. You're GOAT. That is the co-main event, Frankie.
I understand that.
You know,
Come on, man.
He heard
3-minute
Claressa
rounds
on the show today, and he switched his allegiances. He knows who the GOAT is. Good call, Frankie. Good call.
Yeah, Jake Paul by KO TKO minus 900.
900. Wow. Who's he fighting, Frank? Who, me?
You've been watching tape on Ryan Borland? You've been watching tape on the Rhino, Frankie? Ryan Borland?
Absolutely.
He's calling back here for a third round TKO stoppage for Jake Paul after dropping him in the second.
The Rhino
said Borland leaves his right hand down, and that's where it's going.
Oh, he's been watching
Jake Paul. Yeah, he's been.
He doesn't go down easily, from what I've seen.
All right, Ricky.
Yeah, give me Muhammad Mokaev money line.
That easy. Wow. Mohamed Mokaev minus 355. That gets us to minus 128. Juliana Pena's pick pending. A little triple P situation here. Pena pick pending.
Do I listen? If you need me, you can tag me in, but I don't want to do a 5-leg parlay, so I want to give her the benefit of the doubt.
I think she's gonna hit me with it.
Yeah, you guys know my number. If you need me, I have one in the back pocket.
Is the passion gone? Is the losing too much to bear for a world champion?
Is it? No, I'm just saying. You know,
I'm saying
if my
for
friends
Pena.
need me. No, yeah, I know what you're
Pena's
saying.
used to winning world titles.
You know what I think it is? I think she's locking in. I think there's a title fight coming up. I think she's locking in.
Well, we'd be happy to have you back as well, or we could recruit another fighter. You know, our DMs applications are open to be the featured fighter in the Parlay Boys.
What else we got?
Yeah, I got a few picks. Got a few picks for UFC Apex 87. We'll kick off. Eric Anders inside the distance. I think he's got Jamie Pickett covered about everywhere. Tough to see how big of a favorite Eric Anders is. He's now eclipsed minus 500, but I feel like this is a winnable fight for him. I really do think he gets it done, and I think he gets it done in fairly easy fashion and wins inside the distance. Next up, Umar Nurmagomedov taking on the debuting Bekzat Almakhan, 17-1. I mean, dude appears to be a dog, has not fought competition anywhere near the level of Umar Nurmagomedov. But I'm going to go with this fight does not go to a decision. 16 of his 18 fights have not gone to a decision for Bekzat. And then Umar, I know he's not the most prolific finisher, but 4 of his last 5 wins have come by way of finish. And I think there's a gap skill-wise between these two. I think Umar gets this one done and makes it look easy. Next up, Astro Boy, our guy, Stevie E, Steve Erceg taking on Matt Schnell. I'm going to take this one. Does not go to a decision. Matt Schnell, if you just look at his fights, he is a great fighter for flyweight unders. I'm not even just blindly playing this as a flyweight under because we saw them die last week. But I feel good about this one. 19 of Matt Schnell's last 22, if you're counting tough, have not seen the third round, and I don't think this one is either. So this one does not go to a decision. And then last but not least on the does not go to a decision, Perez Mahayev. Alex Perez, you got to wonder where he's at this point. Since 2020, 19 canceled bouts for the guy. I'm sorry, 10 canceled bouts, 19 combined with Matt Schnell. 10 canceled bouts for Alex Perez. Getting confused by my own notes here. Has only fought twice since November of 2020. In both those fights, he was finished in the very first round. Has lost by submission 5 times in his career. Mahayev, he has finished 4 of his 5 UFC wins, all of those by submission. Just doesn't seem like a good matchup. The up-and-coming prospect against the guy that we haven't really seen in the octagon too much. I think Mahayev gets it done, and I think it's likely by submission. Co-main event, Vitor Petrino, I will take him by knockout. Massive favorite here, over minus 300. I think if he gets out of the first round, he is very live. I think he's even live in the first round. But Tyson Pedro, all 10 wins coming by way of first-round finish. And Petrino, as big of a favorite as he is, minus 300, minus 320 at some books, you're getting KO at plus 175 when 7 of his 10 wins are by KO. And I don't see this fight going the distance. I think Petrino finishes him around 2 or 3, and I will take the risk on it being by knockout. Main event, Biggie Boy, Gadziev. It was my Parlay Boys pick. I'll take under 1.5 in this one. Rosenstrike, like I said, 9 of his last 13, and then Gadziev, 11 of his 12 pro fights, all under the 1.5. I think they're going to come out, they're going to swing, and someone's going to fall. A couple parlays. These things were already juiced. They're just getting juicier throughout the week. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. And then CLD, Steve Erceg, and then the other one was Anders Bashrat and Umar Nurmagomedov. So not as many picks as last week, but those are the picks. UFC Apex 87.
Nothing on Puerto Rico.
Nothing on Puerto Rico. Jake Paul is minus 3,500, minus 900 for knockout. Manny Serrano is like minus 4,000.
What about One Championship 166?
Yeah, so I actually just saw that odds got released. Man, there's not a ton of playable lines here. The Rainer to Ritter, Anatoly is minus 550.
Damn.
But man, I can have no confidence playing Rainer to Ritter after that last fight. I mean, it was a one-sided absolute beatdown. So yeah, Just keep it at 87. I will have plenty of action next week. I can guarantee you that. PFL, Joshua Ngannou, our guy Zhang on that card as well, and then of course UFC 299.
That fight is it's crazy how that fight is just flying right under the radar.
Oh, I can't wait.
That would be a main event.
It's excitement for AJ Francis and
like his 2 wins over Joyce and then Parker's win over Wilder. You think like that's a main event on any card. That's on a Queensberry card or a Top Rank card, whatever. And they're the freaking co-main. What the hell?
That's a main event in an arena.
Yeah,
for sure.
And no one's talking about it. I feel like no one is talking about it whatsoever.
There's another title fight too. Ray Vargas, right?
Yeah, Vargas is on there. Jack McGann, who's the son of Anthony McGann, who's a former MMA fighter who has transitioned out to boxing, is on there. So yeah, a little something for everyone. Just like today's show, a little something for everyone, right? A little pro wrestling. What about Matt Riddle, huh?
Great guy, man. He's a fun dude back here.
I bet. Very. It comes with less people than some of our guests on Monday.
Just him and his boy.
Just him and his boy. Originally, it was just him.
I thought it was his manager, but then I got to talking, and it was just one of his boys that lives up here in the Northeast. And whenever he wrestles up here, he just comes and hangs with him.
Amazing.
So, yeah, not quite the same entourage.
I have a plane to catch, guys, so I'm sorry for cutting this a little short. And I'm sorry to everyone who sent in questions. I didn't get to all of them, but I'm going to try to make it up to you perhaps on Monday's show. So I have a lot of those still in my little folder. And we'll do our best to get to as many as possible. But, we don't take any days off here. So here we are, and there I go on another journey across, I don't know where is it? Not the Atlantic. Where am I going? Across the Caribbean? I don't know. Where am I going?
Oh, man.
Pretty sure that's the Atlantic.
Is it the Atlantic? Across the Atlantic would be to, Europe.
You're traversing the Atlantic.
Okay, traversing.
Southern motion.
All right.
Mexico? Nah, it'll just be the Atlantic, man.
Still the U.S.
You nailed it. Flying right across the Atlantic. Yeah, Puerto Rico, great U.S. sovereign state? Territory?
Territory. They vote.
Did you get the right currency?
Of course they vote.
With you?
It's U.S.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Seems like a great place.
It is a great place. I enjoyed my time. And I can't wait. I've said this before. The crowd last year at the WWE event Backlash there at the same arena, the Choliseo, one of the best crowds that I've ever witnessed. And I wasn't there, obviously. I was watching it on TV, on Peacock. But I don't recall a better, and this is coming from a Montrealer, an Elimination Chamber was nuts, and I thought that wouldn't be topped. And then that crowd was hitting us with the uno dos on all the near falls, and they were just on fire. And then, of course, Bad Bunny's walkout. I don't know if he's going to be there.
Think Bad Bunny comes out to support?
Yeah, that would be sick.
That would be, that's as big as you can get.
I mean, that would be nuts.
Big as you can get, man.
I was talking to a lot of people there. Serrano is a big deal. She has,
of course.
Yeah, like they definitely love her and claim. Obviously, boxing has long been a huge deal in Puerto Rico. Not so much a women's boxer, but you can make the case as the most famous Puerto Rican boxer right now, Puerto Rican fighter. Dare I say, maybe even Puerto Rican athlete. Dare I say, there's some great baseball players, of course, as well. But no, it's a big deal. Jake Paul in the co-main, Juana Walton. So check me out there if you are so inclined. For now, though, thank you to all our guests. Jorge Masvidal, check out Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA. Thank you very much to Matt Riddle. Check out MLW tomorrow. Thank you to Dave Feldman, of course, Claressa Shields. Thanks to you. Thanks to them. Back on Monday. Say type. Peace.